All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon's live commentary coverage, or I should say tonight's live commentary coverage of the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race from Bristol Motor Speedway. And in tonight's running of the Suburban Propane 300, we get to see, can anybody take down Kyle Larson, who is coming back for redemption this week after not winning his prior O'Reilly Series start despite leading the most laps in that said race just a couple of weeks ago at Darlington. Justin Allgaier was able to steal the win from him there. Larson was in this race a season ago. He led the most laps and won the race in pretty dominating fashion. So as he looks to do that 2 years in a row, we will see if anybody can best him here tonight. Nothing quite better than a Saturday night at Bristol Motor Speedway. Welcome everybody to today's live commentary stream, our second of which of the day. We wrapped up Cup Series practice and qualifying around an hour ago. My guy, Ryan Blaney, on the pole, so I've had a little bit of a wardrobe change. I was like, you know what, Blaney's on the pole tomorrow after qualifying tonight. Let's throw the Blaney stuff on a night early. Went into my closet. Here we go. I got the hat, I've got the long sleeve t-shirt, and I'm ready to go for tonight's O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race now. Waiting for the raw feed to open up on NASCAR.com, so that's why I don't have that open at the moment. So we'll actually go through the point standings and see how the first 8 races of the season are shaking up for O'Reilly action. Cup Series had an off week last week, the first of the season. O'Reilly has actually not had an off week yet this year, so as we come into this one through 8 straight weeks, Justin Allgaier holds the series points lead at this moment. And I'll actually get the points scrolling at the top of the screen now for the O'Reilly Series. There we go. I had the Cup side still up there from earlier. 126-point lead for Allgaier. He's got almost 2 full races worth of points ahead of Jesse Love in second. Dominating season so far. 3 wins in the first 8 races. And 120 stage points for Justin Allgaier. The second most in the series is Carson Kvapil with 81. Second place in points, Jesse Love has 75 stage points. That is an insane difference. He's almost got a full race worth of stage points alone, more than any other driver in the field. 207 laps led. It's actually not as many as Jesse Love, who sits second in the point standing. So it's mostly stage points and race wins that is keeping Justin Allgaier with a pretty massive points lead. He'll still be the points leader at the end of the night, but can anybody maybe try to eat into that gap just a little bit? Outside of Jesse Love sitting P2 in the standings, you got Sheldon Creed up to 3rd, Austin Hill 4th, and Corey Day up a couple spots in points. He now sits in 5th. Carson Kvapil 6th, Sammy Smith 7th, Brandon Jones 8th, Parker Retzlaff with a great season thus far in 9th, and Raja Carruth rounds out the top 10 in points. 12 drivers make the chase. William Sawalich got his first career win last week at Rockingham, moved him up 3 spots to 11th, so now he's on the inside of the chase cut line. Taylor Gray sits 12th right as he entered last week despite the DNF, and Sam Mayer also had a DNF, and he actually dropped back 2 spots in points. He is now the first driver out as he is 30 points below the cut line behind Taylor Gray. Ryan Sieg sits 14th in points, Brennan Poole 15th, and Anthony Alfredo 16th on the outside looking in, entering race number 9 this evening. It's the first race of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Dash for Cash. Qualifying for the Dash for Cash was the top 4 finishers of the O'Reilly Series regulars last week. William Sawalich, Brandon Jones, Justin Allgaier, and Raja Carruth will be those drivers going for that grand prize. So $100,000 bonus on the line for any one of those Dash for Cash winners. We will see if any of those drivers will win the race, let alone the fact that not only not having to win the race, they just have to finish the best of those 4 positions. But if you could get the $100,000 bonuses and a race win, that would make the good night even better. AJF, Bam Hall, Sharik BSN, Bond 1771, Regine Huddleston. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Yes, short track racing on a Saturday night. And my favorite short track, Bristol Motor Speedway, has me excited for this one. Kyle Larson doesn't win. Give you a $1,500 donation. You know what? I'm not going to hold you to that, but if you gave me a $1,500 donation, that would be insane for one. But that's 2 weeks worth of work for me at my normal job. Crazy. That'd be very, very generous. Kyle Larson is my pick to win tonight's race. Enough said on that. Still waiting for the raw feed to pop up on NASCAR.com so we can roll through the starting lineup for tonight's race. Cars are not quite on the racetrack yet. Christopher Bell, a Cup Series regular, won the Truck Series race last night, so we'll see if a Cup regular can win this evening as well. Not as many in the O'Reilly Series field today as what we saw in yesterday evening's event. And I got to get the chat poll up also before this race starts, so you can vote for who you think will win. Actually, who will win? We're going to go Kyle Larson or the field. And I asked you at Darlington, and it was around a 50-50 vote, pretty close to it. I think Larson did lead the voting poll at Darlington, but he did not win the race. He led the most laps, but he did get beat on a late restart by Allgaier. And I think that's going to be what it's going to take to beat him again tonight. I don't think the long run, you're going to be able to beat Kyle Larson this evening, just like at Darlington. But if we get a short run in 20 laps and somebody can best him on the restart, could be all it takes. But yeah, I'm taking Larson for the win. 4 early votes, 5 early votes now. It's 80% to 20 in favor of Larson. Larson does have one O'Reilly Auto Parts Series win in the 2 starts he's had this year. He raced at Las Vegas, won that race, and then finished 4th at Darlington after leading the most laps. Oddly enough, he actually didn't lead the most laps in the Las Vegas race. It was a late race restart in which he won that one after not leading much, so the complete alternative to what happened to him at Darlington, where he dominated and then didn't get the win. Dylan Welch going to be doing the play-by-play tonight on the CW in place of Adam Alexander, who's off for the week. Jamie McMurray and Parker Kligerman still with Dylan in the CW booth and at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Should be interesting to listen to that at various times throughout tonight's live commentary coverage. Steve J, thanks for tuning in. Why is Adam Alexander out? I have no idea. Maybe he had to take some personal time under the weather. Not exactly sure. But hoping the best for Adam, all things considered, and hopefully we see him back next week. Does a pretty solid job in the commentating booth for whatever he is doing. Sure, we'll hear his voice during the Prime Video broadcast a little bit later on in the year for the Cup Series, just as we did last year. Kyle Larson in the 88 car, starting in 3rd place tonight. Cars are on the racetrack. They've already given the command to fire engines. I'm trying to pull up the starting grid for you all, but there is some technical difficulties on NASCAR.com right now that I'm not able to find it. I might have to go onto the NASCAR app on my phone. Last race results. Wonder if I can go to schedule maybe. Weekend schedule. Qualifying did take place earlier today. Yeah, I'm going to go into NASCAR.com or the NASCAR mobile app. It just seems like NASCAR.com's raw feed is down at the moment, and I'm not able to find anything yet. So William Sawalich on the pole right where he left off after winning his first career race a week ago in Rockingham. We'll see if maybe it gets the monkey off the back and all of a sudden William Sawalich Could turn his whole, really, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series career around. That could open the floodgates. Sheldon Creed, who's third in points, starts second this evening, also on the front row. And row 2 will be Kyle Larson going for back-to-back Bristol Spring O'Reilly Series wins, and Brandon Jones on the outside of him. In row number 3, Sam Mayer and Taylor Gray. Row 4, Justin Allgaier, the series points leader, and Carson Quapple piloting the 9 car this weekend for Junior Motorsports. In row number 10 will be Parker Rutzlaff and Brennan Poole. Row 5, rounding out the top 10, Parker Rutzlaff and Brennan Poole. Ryan Sieg, Jesse Love in row 6. Row 7, Jeb Burton and Corey Day. Connor Zilich, Sammy Smith in row 8. Row 9, Brett Cruz, the rookie, and Anthony Alfredo. Row number 10, Jeremy Clements, Kyle Sieg, then Dean Thompson and Harrison Burton in row 11. Austin Hill deeper in the field, row 12, alongside Logan Bearden. Austin Green, LeVar Scott in row 13. Row 14, Josh Balicki, Greg Golding. Josh Williams, Blaine Perkins in row 15. Row 16 for Mason Maggio and Patrick Staropoli. Ryan Ellis, J.J. Yaley, row 17. Row 18, Garrett Smithley, Joey Gase, Blake Lothian, and Roger Carruth, row 19. Rounding out tonight's 38-car field. So that is your full field starting order. Stage splits today, 85 laps in both Stage 1 and Stage 2, 130 laps in Stage number 3. That will take us to the finish in what will be a 300-lap race around this fast half-mile short track. Only 50 laps longer than the race we saw yesterday evening for the Truck Series. Raw feed is now up and running here seconds before the drop of the green flag, so that's good to see. Again, stage splits 85, 85, and 130 for tonight. So they actually won't have to pit for fuel purposes in any of the 3 stages. We did not see hardly any tire fall off in both the Truck Series race, O'Reilly Series practice, and Cup Series practice that already took place today. A lot of on-track activity this Saturday. Truck Series, all their practice and qualifying and racing went on yesterday, and everything O'Reilly Series today with practice, qualifying, and the race, and obviously Cup practice and qualifying again wrapped up a little over an hour ago. So Sawalich elects the outside of row number 1 for this initial start. Again, 300 laps at Bristol Motor Speedway. This should be a fun one. Can't wait to bring you all the action. Favorite racetrack? One of my favorite races of the year. I'm excited for this. Going to be a lot of fun. If you're wondering for visual purposes where you can watch every O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race on the CW. So again, the CW is where you can watch tonight's race. Pace car on pit road. Sawalich launches, green flag in the air. We're underway in the Suburban Propane 300 at Bristol. Off and racing early in turns 1 and 2, opening lap. Couple cars get together up out of turn 2. That was a close call. Nearly 3 wide entering turn 3, and the caution lights are on because the 91 actually did go around entering turn 3. I saw some contact off of turn 2 down the back straightaway, and I wondered if somebody was going to get turned around there, and it did end up happening. Mason Maggio going for an opening lap spin. And that did not take long. A lap 1 caution entering turn 3. Nine yellows, quite a few in the truck race of only 250 laps yesterday. Maybe kind of picking up where we left off. He got loose up out of turn 2 in the back of the field. Looking to see if maybe he had contact. He did. Yeah, he was loose because of contact with a car to his outside. It looked like it might have been J.J. Yaley in the 5. Tough to tell for sure. Kind of pushed tight, washed up into the car to the outside, and right off the exit of the corner with the flatness of the straightaway off of the transitioning from the steep banking here, and bottom end of the car came out from underneath him. Major Kenneth Withrow, thanks for tuning in. Brenda Gibson, Bond 1771. Frank Powers, welcome in as well. Hello, race fans. Old track. Relatively speaking, yes. Considering it's springtime and at night, but compared to most Bristol spring race weekends, the weather relatively warm this week. Track temp earlier this afternoon was actually over 100 degrees during practice. Much different track conditions under the lights, I'm sure, than what we would have saw in practice. These teams trying to get the best gauge on their cars early, and I think we're going to see some big swings with the adjustments when we get to the end of this first stage, or first pit stops at least, whenever they end up coming upon us. You make this race on one tank of fuel mathematically, but because of the way the stage splits are, it's pretty much going to be at least a two-stopper. You may see some teams try to stay out at the end of stage 1. If we get enough caution laps in this first stage, you might be able to make it to the end of stage 2. It's going to be a bit of a risk, though. The way this is starting right now, it could lay into that strategy potentially opening up. So when we get to the end of stage 1, we're going to have to monitor if anybody does stay out to leapfrog in the running order. Shouldn't see much fall off today. Couple cars that started at the back, Carson Quapple and Raja Karuth trying to work their way forward. Opening lap of the race, Karuth already up to 28. He missed that incident when everybody checked up, and he gained about a half a dozen spots on the back straightaway alone. Quapple still sitting in 34th as he just missed the incident. We'll be getting to the restart this time by. Wayne Martin, welcome to the stream. Almost a record temp for the spring race. Live here, it was 82 degrees today. Yeah, ambient temp 82. I think it was 79 during cup practice, and that was more in the late afternoon, evening hours. Got done right around 5:30 Eastern. So I've watched spring Bristol races my whole life, and usually it's like 60 or lower temperature-wise for a high during the day here. So very, very warm. Here in the Midwest, in Northwest Ohio, it was a high of 51 today. It felt nice for this time of the year here, but yeah, still, yeah, not getting that 80-degree weather yet. It is supposed to be like 70-something tomorrow, though, so it'll be much nicer. Green one lap, then caution. Yeah, not even a lap. Are they going green during the commercial break? Because I'm still under commercial right now, and it says green on my screen. What's CW doing? I feel like we went green during the commercial break. I'm getting local ads, by the way, on the CW right now, so I don't know if this is a CW problem or if it's the race coverage itself. Let me know, folks. I didn't fall behind on the broadcast, did I? Oh, I'm on a different channel. What happened? I somehow changed channels. I was going to say, green flag back in the air here. So Zilich still leads on the restart. I don't know exactly when they restarted. It was probably a few laps ago at least. Sheldon Creed just posted the fastest lap of the race at the end of lap 11. A lap time of a 16.038. And I'm sure we will see a faster lap as we get further into the night. Saw a lot of trucks in the race last night running faster laps later in the race as the track temp continued to cool into the night. The track itself got faster. So we should get more grip as we move along here as well. Speaking of grip, Corey Day is going to need that grip because he got very loose on the bottom lane of 3 and 4, washed up a little bit. Parker Rutzlaff in the 99 underneath of him. Mostly bottom feeder racetrack to start this thing out, but the groove with all the on-track activity today should widen out much quicker now than what it did in the truck race last night. And in that truck race last night, they really couldn't get that middle to upper groove to dominate the middle to upper line of the track. There were a couple trucks very late running up there on the long green flag run, but not a lot, and they didn't have the success that we usually would see. Also, the further along the weekend we get, that traction compound down around the yellow line on the inside of both corners should wear out some. It was already starting to for Cup qualifying a little bit ago, so I'd imagine by the end of a 500-lap race tomorrow, and the 300 laps are going to run here this evening on track with 38 cars, it's going to be a lot more slick. And daytime conditions tomorrow for the Cup race versus the nighttime for the truck and O'Reilly races this weekend overall should lead to less grip, more horsepower, the 750 horsepower, as we saw at Martinsville a couple weeks ago, and a couple other tracks already this year, Phoenix and Coda as well. Road courses and then shorter intermediate ovals. Darlington, another one that they had the higher 750 horsepower. New to 2026 with the next-gen cars specifically, but we've seen it in recent weeks already. Watched Brandon Jones slip up the racetrack, only for Kyle Larson to do the exact same thing right behind him, but he didn't slip up as wide as Jones did, and he was still able to take away that third-place position. He got a better turn off from the middle to the exit of turn 4 than what the 20 did. Jones slipped up the track and kept going up, and Larson was at least able to get back to the bottom quickly enough and get that straight line exit, win the race back to the throttle. Sheldon Creed trying to put some pressure on our leader of William Sawalich, the teenager. Each of these two got their first career wins already this season, so 2 first-time winners. Creed at Atlanta in the second race, and his 4th full-time season in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and William Sawalich in his 2nd season. Showing the replay of Jones getting loose off turn 4. He got loose in, and then he was loose off as well. That's always a tough time. If you're loose in and loose off, you're going to have a handful here at Bristol. Kyle Larson giving Sheldon Creed a bit of a handful right now all over his back bumper. Larson started 3rd, fell to 5th on that initial lap, and with the quick caution, it's taken him a little bit of extra time trying to get through the field. 23 laps in, just now getting to 2nd. He is relatively making quick work still, but between the caution laps and the fact that the laps go by quickly at Bristol, maybe you were expecting Larson to get to the lead a little sooner. He still looks like the fastest car on the racetrack, though. Not just by the eye test, but the lap time sheet would say the same as well. The last lap, he was about 2/10 quicker than Sawalich. 2 consecutive laps that has been the case now, and he's all over the back of the 18. And Larson going to try to make quick work of him, because not only Sawalich is not holding the pace to Larson, but Creed, Jones, Mayer, all within about 1.1 seconds of the leader. Haven't quite gotten to the back of lap traffic yet with that early caution, but we got to be getting close. It only takes about 20 laps or so to catch lap traffic, especially in the Truck and O'Reilly Series races, where there is quite the speed difference between the cars at the very front and the cars at the very back. And there is the first lapper in the 35 right in front of Sawalich up out of turn 2 on lap 27. Larson nearly getting into the back of the 18. Sawalich going to go to the middle to upper groove of the racetrack to try to make this pass on the 35. And he's going to have to do the same on Garrett Smithley in the 0. Larson in the middle, Sawalich up a lane. Larson getting some clean air on the nose perhaps, and trying to get as low to the bottom of the track as he can, even with the lappers there. Now more clean air on the nose for Larson as he rolls that middle to upper groove, sweeps to the outside of Sawalich, leads that lap at the line, and if he does that same thing in 1 and 2, which he does, he's now going to be clear for the lead. So Kyle Larson out in front for the first time today. It took him 28 laps to go from 3rd to 1st, after dropping back to as far back as 5th on the initial start. But he's off and running early and pulling away from Sawalich and company. Sheldon Creed nearly sneaking underneath of Sawalich down in turns 1 and 2 on the bottom lane of the racetrack, and William Sawalich able to hold on for a little bit because of the lap car down on the inside. Creed had to lift a little extra, get back in line on the top, pass the lap car, and go to work again on Sawalich here shortly. And now it looks like on our leaderboard, Sheldon Creed, during a replay of the pass for the lead for Larson at Sawalich, Creed has taken 2nd place away from the 18. Commercial break as well on the CW for those of you watching visually there. 35 laps in, 50 to go in stage 1. Your top 10 has Kyle Larson in the lead, Sheldon Creed second, William Sawalich third, Brandon Jones fourth, and Sam Mayer in fifth. Sixth is Justin Allgaier, Taylor Gray seventh, Jesse Love eighth, Parker Retzlaff ninth, and Ryan Sieg rounds out the top 10. Either cold, raining, haven't seen it snow for the spring race. Yeah, not in a while at least. Not since I was a kid. Always opt for the fall race, usually good temp overall. Yeah, when I go to Bristol, I usually go to the summer race. I did go to one of the dirt races on my annual trips in recent years. Bristol's my personal favorite track. Always try to get there at least once a year. Sawalich about to lose a spot, maybe to Brandon Jones, who went to the outside, but the 18 car took his line away, trying to get by a lap car as well. Sam Mayer, for a brief moment, was inside of Brandon Jones, looking to gain a position himself, but couldn't get the drive off. That middle to upper groove of the racetrack is coming in slowly. I mean, obviously getting by slower cars at the back of the pack any means necessary, and a lot of those slow cars running around the bottom. Making it to where everybody's trying to get up there, but they're getting the good drive off, that's for sure. That 18 car of Sawalich is struggling. Taylor Gray in the 54 maybe struggling a bit as well. Jesse Love going to slip to his outside. Although Justin Allgaier getting backed up behind the 41, who's taking an awfully long time to try to make a pass on Brandon Jones for fourth. And Allgaier's not going to have any more of it. He'll get to the inside of his former teammate. Lap cars on the top and bottom lanes of the racetrack right around this battle for fifth. Door to door between the 7 and 41, the 2, the 99, 54, all under a blanket, is 5th through 9th. With nowhere to go because of the side-by-side lap traffic. Is anybody going to make maybe a daring move? Allgaier thought about going up the middle, 3 wide, lane closed, and a little bit of contact between himself and the 91. One of those 2 lap cars in front of him. Now he's trying to push the 92 forward and try to get somebody to get going here. Because everybody's just gridlocked and they're losing a ton of time on those top 4 spots because Sawalich was starting to back this group of cars up to begin with, and now the 18 and the 20 have pulled away some. Battle for the dash for cash also between 3 of those top 5, Sawalich, Jones, and Allgaier. And then Raja Karuth, who started deeper in the field, also in the dash for cash in the Jordan Anderson Racing 32 car. He started last in this race. He's up to 27th. But because of this track only being a half-mile oval, he could be in danger of going a lap down by the end of stage 1. Right now, he's actually the last car in the lead lap, is Raja Karuth. Kind of a tough break that he gets the dash for cash in a week that he's not in the Junior Motorsports 88, driven by Larson tonight. So pretty unfortunate, because I think he would have had more of a fair shot of going for that $100,000 bonus had it been him in the JRM 88 instead. Patty Rundy Creations, thanks for tuning in. How do I like Bristol when it was a dirt track? I didn't mind it. I just like Bristol personally the way it is. The concrete version of it. And I'm not opposed to NASCAR going back and running a dirt race. I just wish it was at an actual dirt track. Like when the trucks were going to Eldora every year, there was nothing wrong with that on the schedule. I actually went to one of those races too. It was the marquee event of the Truck Series schedule for a while there through the 2010s, and then they didn't go there during the COVID season, and then they didn't go back after that. So I'd love for them to return to Eldora if possible. And I do believe they could run a cup race there. Even if it's not even if it's not a points race and it's more of an exhibition, I believe that they could run an all-star race. The Clash, it's going to be too cold in Ohio in February, but Seeing that they can run at Bowman Gray Stadium with an exhibition race, there's no reason why they can't run at Eldora, which seats even more people than that. I mean, they get about 30 to 40,000 people for the King's Royal every year, which is one of the bigger, if not probably the second biggest World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series race of the year and weekend of the year. You can get 30 to 40,000 people for that. You're going to get at least that many for the NASCAR race, and that's about how many people that usually sell out Darlington or Phoenix, around 40,000. So I'm shocked they've never tried it. And I almost kind of wondered if they were going to attempt to do that when they brought the trucks there at first, but then it was just a mainstay in the Truck Series schedule, and I'd be open for it. Not just because I live in the state of Ohio either, right? It worked. It worked with the Truck Series. Yeah, Kyle Larson already out ahead by about 3.8 seconds over Sheldon Creed. He just took the lead just over 25 laps ago, which in real time is about 5 minutes. So in about 5 to 6 minutes, he's opened the lead up 3.8 seconds. Intermediate track, that would be the equivalent of about 12 laps, 10 to 12. It was a mile and a half track, so that's a very, very quick pace that he's pulling out right now to get ahead by that much. There's a lot of cars even up at the front of the field that have struggled to get by lap traffic. Kyle Larson has not had that struggle. This is his racetrack, and he's showing off right now. Five-second lead all of a sudden for Kyle Larson. But again, we saw this at Darlington a few weeks ago, and he couldn't get the win that day, so not going to count anybody out of it until it's over. At least until the white flag, if it's a long green flag run. You can get beat on a restart on pit road again. But it's going to have to be on a late race situation. Because like we saw right there, he went from 5th to 1st, but it took him 27 laps. So it does take time. If he loses the lead in the final 20 laps of the race, it's not going to be easy to get that pass made for the lead quickly. Especially if he's in maybe not as preferred of a lane because of not being the control car in a restart as well. But as long as he's in the lead, if his picker doesn't fail him like they did at Darlington, it's going to be tough for him to lose this race. And that was the only reason he even lost the lead at Darlington. It wasn't even him on track. He actually lost the lead because of a pit stop and then restarted in row 2 and lost another couple spots. But he didn't outright lose the lead all by himself. Yeah, Knoxville had a couple truck races too. Like the old track before they messed it up. Back in the Earnhardt and Elliott era. Racing was racing. Can hardly pass, a lot of rubbing, wrecks, and excitement. And speaking of rubbing, we got somebody who has rubbed a tire down. That would be Austin Green in the 87. He's trying to get down to the bottom of the track to pit road, but he can't because of the oncoming traffic. And caution's going to come out because of it. Kind of interested why they threw the yellow there. Unless there's debris laid down from a tire carcass, but I don't think that that's the case. Tire was down, but I don't see any debris. 87 car was slow, couldn't get down into the pits because of the oncoming traffic, but it looked like he was about to get a hole. With the race leaders closing in on him, but he gets the caution instead. And that's actually good for Green that the caution came out because now he's going to stay on the lead lap. Or if he had to pit under Green, he was going to lose at least 2 laps. So bailed out with the call by NASCAR there. Actually, looking at it, Austin Green was already 1 lap down, so he would have went probably 2 to 3 laps down had that caution not come out. But 1 lap down is better than 2. So there you have it. Pit road is open. The 88 car, Kyle Larson, is in for an early stop with about 20 laps to go in stage 1. Sheldon Creed in with him. They're still on commercial break as these pit stops are going on, by the way. As soon as they come back from break, I'll let you listen in.
And pit stops are underway here at Bristol Motor Speedway. William Sawalich already done. Bad loose on entry, he said, into the corners. The 00 of Sheldon Creed, you see on the right side of your screen, making his way. Already finished his service. Same as practice. 2 numbers free in, 2 numbers tight. Center air pressure adjustment, Heather. And for Brandon Jones, how you see him there on the bottom of your screen, he said that he started off loose on entry, but was struggling bad to get rotation and center exit. Also, Justin Allgaier in the middle of your screen, he said tight in and loose off. And for the 88 of Kyle Larson, he said at the short run, he's free, and that's a lot like he remembered from last year.
Progressive race off pit road, won by Kyle Larson. Brandon Jones jumps William Sawalich, and Sheldon Creed loses a couple of spots. Caution, by the way, for Austin Green, who was running 25th. Had a tire go down, and a little difficult to try to find an opening to get to pit road here. So he slowed to basically a stop, and the caution came out, which prompted this cycle of pit stops.
And it is fairly typical here when that happens, where when the cars are so spread out, there's no chance that car that has a tire down is going to ever get down to the bottom without a huge issue. So NASCAR throws the caution to let them get off the racetrack.
Couple things in this cycle. Free pass for Austin Hill. He had just gone a lap down, which is huge. Yep, huge for them. So they'll be back on the lead lap after their continued struggles here at Bristol. And a couple cars, 3 cars stayed out. Ryan Sieg, Anthony Alfredo, and Jeremy Clements. So they will cycle to the front of the field here. And guys, I'll have you explain the thought process here of flipping this stage. How does this impact what you do in stage 2?
Well, you basically can go all the way through this next stage break. So you'll go all the way through to stage 2, essentially, because of the way you can do about 130 laps or maybe even a little bit more with caution laps, maybe all the way to 150. So if none of these teams saying, we're just going to take this chance to pit and go all the way to stage 2, and for some that stayed out, like a Ryan Sieg, it's a chance to say, hey, maybe we can stay up there, net some stage points, we'll give up all that track position and try to make it up the rest of the race.
I would feel way better about doing that if it was just bottom dominant and you couldn't move up the racetrack. But the fact that we've seen some passes in the middle and top, it's going to be hard to do.
Riding on board with Ryan Ellis, the Demco built to move in-car camera. Check in on the 00 of Sheldon Creed. He'll restart in the 7th spot on this restart.
Hi, Sheldon. I say if you're in that same situation again on the pit stop, make sure your nose out, not go.
Yeah, I saw that. He was pitted behind, I believe it's Sammy Smith. And when you have 2 guys that are on the same lap and hit it together, it makes it difficult, especially if you slide through the box and you're in a bad angle anyways.
And you can see it right there when you watch the right front lock and he had the wheel turn to the right. He was trying to do where you sort of lock the rears and position the car to be pointed out. Then Sammy Smith comes in, and what's going to happen is he's going to have an awkward angle to try and get that car cut. The wheels can only cut so far. And basically, right there, he has to hesitate getting out for just a split.
Almost caught a crew member.
It's up in a pit stop that you want to avoid, so you try to get that car pointed right nose out into the box.
Cost him 2 spots.
It didn't hurt him as much as it could have. The fact that Sammy Smith went long in his stall, that was super, super nice of him to do, because that could have been a moment where you have to back up, and that would have been devastating.
Ryan Sieg will be the leader when we restart. 17 laps to go right now in this first stage, going to lap 85. Sieg's coming off 2 of his best runs of the year, back-to-back 9th place finishes at Rockingham last week and Martinsville the week before.
And one of the things, with this attempt here is we didn't see a lot of fall-off practice, right? And that was the heat of the day. So we'll see what kind of, if we, feel like there's a major, larger fall-off here in the race. But I think that's some of the calculus here for Ryan Sieg, Clements, Alfredo, which is, let's see if we can make this work.
Larson gave up a rope to be on the outside on this restart. It tells me it's going to be pretty exciting to watch what he does here. He has the mindset of getting to the top and getting that momentum. Didn't want to be trapped on the bottom, which is interesting because all those guys have been kind of fighting to get to the bottom, but maybe the track's changed and he thinks with those new tires and those guys being on older tires, he can manage it.
You think top of 3 here?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I will say, last time the truck race where we saw the biggest difference with drivers on old tires, it was in the first lap or 2 of the run when they get that initial fire off. Once they had a heat cycle in their tires and maybe one restart into the next, everything was even. even if it was only a lap or two of green flag action. And even during the green flag action, you'd see drivers pick up 4 or 5 spots and then kind of fall in place in line after a couple laps. So biggest jump for Larson going to be here in the first couple of laps. We'll see what he can do. Same for Brandon Jones inside of row 2. Top 3 stay out on old tires. Green flag back in the air. Ryan Sieg, Jeremy Clements, and the 96 of Anthony Alfredo were the 3 cars who stayed out of the pits. Clements going backwards in a hurry. Kyle Larson quickly to second. Sheldon Creed way up out of the groove, getting loose and losing a couple spots to both Jones and Zilich through the middle of 3 and 4. Not a good restart for Clements whatsoever. He's already out of the top 10. While Anthony Alfredo still holding on strong side by side with Kyle Larson in the 88. And Larson gets hit from behind by Brandon Jones in the left rear. I think he might have got loose a little bit before that and then backed the 20 car up with him. Creed, who was stuck on the outside about to get freight train, actually lucks out, gets back by Brandon Jones because of it. And Clements got loose out of turn 2. That's why he lost all those positions that first lap after the restart. Larson barreling it off into turns 3 and 4. 96 car of Anthony Alfredo getting moved by Larson and then by Sheldon Creed. Creed not wanting to waste any time and losing too much ground to the 88. And now that Alfredo's up out of the bottom groove of the racetrack, he should be going backwards. Sieg still holding on for the lead right now with about 10 laps to go in stage 1. But Kyle Larson only half a second back. One of the Xfinity, well, I guess technically O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Dash for Cash front runners is in 24th, and that would be Carruth. He was a lap down when the caution came out, but he was of the many drivers who's hooked the wave around. Austin Hill got the free pass for being the first car 1 lap down at the time of caution in the 23rd place position. And then we had about a half a dozen drivers take the wave around at 1 lap down with the leaders hitting pit road. Sieg still holding on to the lead for now. 7 laps to go in the stage, but Larson is there. Down around the bottom, Sieg wiggles up out of the exit of turn 2. Larson to the inside now into 3. Straight up the racetrack goes the 39, but he's going to get a decent drive off. Lead this lap at the line still, and Larson going to have to make the pass the hard way around the bottom. When he made a pass for the lead the first time on equal tires, he was down or up around the top to get by then Zilich. But he is clear out of turn 2 on Sieg. Sheldon Creed goes to the top now as he tries to work his way around Ryan Sieg next. And Larson back out in front for the second different time today. Already 6 lead changes today at Bristol in this first stage. 2 cautions for incident. 1 on lap 1 and 1 right around lap 50 or so. Sheldon Creed gets by into second place on Ryan Sieg, or at least to the inside of him. He's not clear yet. They're going to be side by side. And now Creed's clear up out of turn 4. Two laps to go this time by stage 1 for Larson. He had as big of about a 5-second lead before the caution for Austin Green having the flat tire. Now the lead's about 0.4 of a second over Creed, and Creed still has the fastest lap of the race on lap 10 with a 16.038. And that bonus point award. The drivers who took the wave around going to be able to stay on the lead lap. No lap traffic with this short dash to the checker. The green-white checker, that is. So end of stage 1 for Kyle Larson. Dominating fashion by way of laps led will win stage 1 here tonight. Sheldon Creed second. Ryan Sieg still holds on by a nose for third over Justin Allgaier in fourth. Brandon Jones fifth. Sixth for William Zilich. Connor Zilich in seventh. Eighth place Jesse Love, Sam Mayer ninth, and Corey Day rounds out the top 10. Yeah, I was looking at the point standings, so Ryan Sieg came into the day 14th in points, and I'm sure that kind of laid out the strategy for them to stay out of the pits and go for stage points. Albeit he didn't win the stage, he still gets 8 points versus he would have gotten 0 after he was running outside the top 10 at the time of him making that decision to not pit. Curious to see if he stays out of the pits again, maybe. And hope for maybe a caution middle of stage 2 to get him back on the same strategy with the leaders again. But even with pitting, Kyle Larson and Sheldon Creed first and second in this first stage. Another stage win for Larson, his third of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series season. He did win both stages at Darlington before finishing fourth in that race, and he didn't win a stage at Las Vegas when he won that day. Third start for Larson in the O'Reilly Series season. Chris Davis, thanks for tuning in. Oh, I didn't realize I was... Wait a second. Didn't realize you changed your TV channel? I don't know what you mean there. Talk about when I was... Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, my bad on that. I didn't realize I'd changed the channel when I backed out of Hulu just to make sure I was still caught up in live under the first caution. All right, so we got 2 diecast showings for this weekend's live commentary streams, and our first one's going to be a Kevin Harvick diecast. I honestly don't remember if I showed this one off on the stream, but these are both former O'Reilly Series cars, former champions of the series. This one is from 2001 when Kevin Harvick had won in the AC Delco number 2 Chevrolet, winning the then Busch Series championship. Again, 2001 Busch Series champion Kevin Harvick, first of 2 titles. And oddly enough, I do have not only 5 Kevin Harvick diecasts, but 2 of them are Busch Series diecasts, so very Kevin Harvick heavy in my collection. I believe this is the last of the 5 I've showed off this season as well. I figured I'd show this one off. It's a fun one. Classic when you consider the drivers who have won in the 2 car and championships in this car at Richard Childress Racing. Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer have won championships with this number in the series. Tyler Reddick, another one, and then Jesse Love last season.
Motorsports, the Credit One Bank NASCAR American Express Card, and by O'Reilly Auto Parts, your professional parts people. Back at Bristol, stage 1 in the books. Kyle Larson picked up the victory there. If there's anyone who knows the value of a good crew, it's the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. That's why they want to put the spotlight on the team members that are essential to a race team's success. Spotters, very important everywhere and tonight. And let's learn more about one of those with Kim.
Yeah, Dylan, and some of the best spotters have honed their craft by being former racers themselves. Kevin Hamlin, spotter of the 41 for Sam Mayer.
Man, he's been around for a long time.
Sam Mayer still in his Cup gear, the Ally Racing sweatshirt. Racing is in his blood. Both of his parents raced. They actually met at a speedway. Hamlin cut his teeth in the Pacific Northwest, where he won 2 championships and the NASCAR Northwest Series. Fast forward to 2004, Hamlin moved to North Carolina to chase the dream. He dabbled in ARCA and the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and even the Cup Series. Over the course of his O'Reilly Auto Parts career, he made 43 starts. You see him there with Casey Kane because he eventually gravitated towards spotting full-time, working with the likes of John Andretti, Travis Kvapil, Clint Boyer, among others. Most notably, Casey and Hendrick in 2012. They won 5 races together, and Kevin has been at HMS ever since on the Cup side of things. And then Hamlin's back with Mayer this year on the O'Reilly side after a brief hiatus last year.
Thanks, Kim. Getting ready to go in stage 2. The cars that didn't flip the stage were the ones that came down pit road, and Larson will be the leader when we come back from break. Good stuff in stage number 1 all throughout the field here at Bristol.
All right, so in the middle of our stage 1 break at the end of lap 85, Kyle Larson stays out of the pits after pitting with the last yellow we had in stage 2, so he's going to retain the lead. The 3 drivers who did stay out to go for those stage points did pit, and they'll be at the tail end of the lead lap for the next restart. Those drivers being Ryan Sieg, Jeremy Clements, and Anthony Alfredo. Only one of those 3 to get stage points was Sieg, who finished 3rd, while Alfredo and Clements fell out of the top 10 pretty quickly. So the top dozen on this next restart, we're going to have Larson in the lead after the shake-up, Sheldon Creed in 2nd, Justin Allgaier 3rd, Brandon Jones 4th, then William Sawalich in 5th, 6th is Connor Zilich, Jesse Love in 7th, Sam Mayer 8th, Corey Day 9th, Sammy Smith 10th, Carson Kvapil 11th, Brent Cruz in 12th. So that's your running order. Stage break is our 3rd caution of the night. A little less than 20 caution laps to count at this point. 38 minutes into the race. 6 lead changes all in stage 1. And we're about a third of the way home in tonight's Suburban Propane 300 at Bristol. We'll take our first break of this live commentary stream. You're listening live on KRC to our full coverage. Our like goal for today's race is 50 likes, so if you haven't hit the like button yet, be sure to do so. And subscribe if you're new for more NASCAR-related content on the channel. We are live for commentary streams just like this across the NASCAR Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series season every race weekend. We also do live commentary for Cup practice and qualifying, which we did earlier today, so a little doubleheader there. 31 votes have been casted in our chat poll for who you think is going to win tonight's race. And simple, instead of putting the 4 options as usual, I got just 2. Kyle Larson or the field. Who's going to win tonight? Kyle Larson, 61% of those 31 votes so far, 39% taking the field. Larson dominating so far in typical Kyle Larson fashion. The pit strategy and the fact that he fell back to 5th on the initial start after qualifying 3rd. He actually hasn't led all the laps yet, but he has led for 53 of 95 laps, so still quite a few. William Sawalich, who started on pole, led the first 27 before Larson got to the lead. Brandon Jones led one on a caution period on pit road. Ryan Sieg led for 13 after staying out of the pits and restarting in the lead in the middle to late going of stage 1. And Jeremy Clements also led a lap. That was under caution coming to the green. And that's why we've actually had 6 lead changes, because really we've only had about 3 of them on track. They still count in the stat sheet. Kind of cheap ones if you ask me, but that's how it's counted.
Under caution at Bristol, awaiting the start of stage 2. This stage break is brought to you by Arby's. Justin Allgaier set to restart 3rd. Let's listen in to the 17th radio communication presented by Starkey.
A lot of guys are commenting how the cars squirrely, depending on what they hit. When they hit feature one, do I get him? Not really not normal. It's really hard to kind of run on the lane together.
Continuing on that conversation, he told Andrew Overstreet that the pace is high and it's hard to move around, so it's really hard to figure out what I need in terms of adjustments, just depending on dirty air and track position. And Andrew came back over the radio, his crew chief, you see him right there, Andrew Overstreet, told him, I think you're good and just as good as the rest of the guys out there in the field right now. So Justin Allgaier might need some more adjustments, but he's waiting to see exactly what he needs here coming to the green.
Yeah, I wonder, some of that splotchiness he talks about, that's something where the rubber has really adhered to the racetrack because the PJ1, and then it sort of isn't in other areas, and so it almost feels patchy at times, and that just makes it very inconsistent when you hit that grip strip, and therefore it's tough to really sort of get a good groove and get into a rhythm because of the inconsistencies.
One thing to pay attention to here, Allgaier really good on the restarts. Last year, that's what got him the lead at one point in this race, is because he could accelerate better than that outside group could. He was the only guy that I saw that was able to do that, and I think Larson's well aware of that.
Sheldon Creed scored 2nd, chose to restart in that outside lane, so he's 2nd in line up there behind Larson. Allgaier scored third. Will join Larson on the front row. Green flag for stage 2. Good jump from Larson. He gets right back to the bottom. Allgaier and Creed go at it for second.
All that momentum on the top. Creed able to get down in front of Justin Allgaier. You see Jones still getting stuck on the top along with Jesse Love. And Justin but he's still getting smoked by Brandon Jones. So just that tape lane had so much more momentum. Oh, as he just gets into the left rear there, Brandon Jones. Again, though, the exit of 4, you see the momentum those guys can get. Then they're able to get down to the bottom through 1 and 2. Not able to do that down here through the middle of 1 and 2. You see Zilich get underneath the inside of Zilich. I love saying both those names back to back. Loose a little bit right there for Connor.
Ritter on board. Zilich running 5th. Looking out the back at Zilich. Do want to make note quickly, Harrison Burton got the free pass there at the start of that stage, so the 24 back on the lead lap.
Listen to how... Oh!
Man.
Slide. Trying to fend off his junior motorsports teammate here. Allgaier running 4th, and we go under yellow again. Wheel and caution lights are on.
That was quick.
And it's Logan Bearden, it appears. There he is. Spun around.
Quickie yellow.
Turn 2.
It's hard to spin out here and not hit anything.
It is.
Yeah, it looks to me like he's safe.
He also, I believe, had Garrett Smithley down there with him, so let's take a look and see exactly what happened.
It's out of turn 4, I should say, for the 42. He was running 30th. And under caution for the 4th time tonight here in Bristol.
But Larson did a really good job on that last restart. Got a good launch. Able to get down in front of Justin.
Here's a look at what happened.
Yeah, they're synchronized steadies.
Silhouettes.
Oh, is that what it's called? Okay.
Under caution at Bristol for the 4th time, 3rd for incident and 1st of stage 2. Kyle Larson, our current race leader. Sheldon Creed in 2nd. Brandon Jones 3rd. Justin Allgaier 4th. Connor Zilich up to 5th. And William Sawalich, the pole sitter, back to 6th. Take another quick break while we're under the yellow flag conditions here. You're listening live again to the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Bristol Suburban Propane 300. Chris Davis voted for Larson. Got 59% of you taking Larson, 41% for the field. 32 votes. You have until the end of stage 2 to vote for who you think is going to win tonight's race again, per usual. With our chat poll during these live commentary streams, end of stage 2 will be lap 170 of 300. We'll have another diecast showing at the end of stage 2 to get through. When we close that chat poll off at the end of stage 2. Up to 40 likes on the stream. Our goal to get to 50 here tonight. We did get to that like goal during the truck race last night, so let's see if we can do that again here 2 days in a row. Much appreciated. Helps these streams out a ton. So we continue to try to grow the channel. Just over a third of the way home at Bristol Motor Speedway. And lots of action still to go. I'll have to step aside when they come back for commercials so I can go down and get my water. I left it downstairs before the start of the stream.
It's Golden Corral. Golden Corral honors our nation's heroes. Progressive Insurance. Get in the savings lane today. Visit progressive.com. And by Ace, the helpful place. Just underway in stage 2, under the yellow flag, once again, the wheel and caution lights are on. What you're seeing on the track right now is the same wheel and emergency warning technology used by police, fire, and EMS vehicles across America, trusted every day to protect those who protect us. Wheel and lights have been busy tonight. 4 cautions already here, 105 laps in. We talked a lot about Carson Kvapil and the challenge that lay ahead of him at the start of today. He's up to the task, up to 11th. That is a great drive and has gotten them out of the danger zone, at least of being lapped, which was the main concern at the start of the night.
And he was flying to the field earlier in this race, and he just loves this place. He talked about it all day in terms of the interviews we've seen from him. You know, has a 3.0 average finish here, which is pretty good, I would say.
It's a small sample size, but he has the best average finish of all drivers with multiple starts here. So it's pretty good. He gets around here pretty well.
Thank you for clarifying my
I'm
stat.
just trying to add, add to your ads.
No, it was good. It was good. It's good teamwork.
Finished second and fourth here last year. He was in the one car.
Well, if the pace he's on tonight, it's going to be a very similar result, if not better.
I like the donuts on the side, too. That shows he's been working through.
Yeah. Get him on both sides. He doesn't have some top.
And not just the left.
That's right.
Field lined up and ready to go. We'll have 63 laps remaining in stage 2. It's still Kyle Larson controlling the field. Brandon Jones has moved to third, and he'll be on the inside of Larson. Good park restart zone. Another good jump for Larson. Going to get right to the bottom, and the two yellow cars, Jones and Creed, to second.
Yeah, Larson, great job on all these restarts, catching guys off guard. Oh, what's up? 3 wide. Oh, they're still 3 wide. Yep, checking a little bit down the straightaway there. Jesse Leather, Brent Cruz. Just trying to get away from it on the outside. I like the position Brent Cruz was in there. The ball like where the 9 was. He's got a good car. You see Austin Hill, who struggled earlier in the race, has moved all the way to the top of the racetrack.
That's a good recovery for them. He runs 11th right now, which is the best they've run here in quite a while. Connor Zilich racing William Zilich. This is a replay of that 3-wide battle. 3 of the young up-and-comers in this series.
And you're dependent on those spotters. Like, if you're the 9, you're like, I hope they're telling the guy on the bottom that we're 3 wide because it's so narrow right there. So lucky not to get a tear cut down with all of that contact. And when you see everything condensing as it does there and you're in Carson Kvapil's position, there's nothing you can do. You can't get out at that front. So to your point, you're just hoping they understand the situation and you don't just get smushed into the wall.
We're on board once again. Zilich runs 5th, and he separated himself from Zilich, Mayer, and Brent Cruz, who runs 6th, 7th, and 8th. Mayer dials up the inside lane, challenging Zilich for 6th.
Yeah, Brent Cruz has made a great recovery. We focused on him, 20 laps ago, and he was back almost in 20th with his teammate Taylor Gray. They had that contact. His car really, really wrapping the bottom well. With those green gloves on St. Mayer. You can see them working off their turn 4 right there. Tons opposite lock.
Those two continue to battle for the 6th spot. It's time to go full throttle with Sound Gear. Wherever sound is a problem, Sound Gear has the solution. Scan the QR code to learn more at soundgear.com. Turn it up.
Well, crank it up action. A Bristol, baby. Got Thunder Valley on high volume.
Halfway through stage 2 here at Bristol. Dylan Welch, Parker Clifton, Jamie McMurray in the broadcast booth. Carlo Metz, Kim Kuhn, and Heather DeBow with us tonight here on the CW live at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Kyle Larson won stage 1. Sheldon Creed runs in the 2nd spot. This battle we're watching on the screen is the race for the 6th spot. But back up front, top 3, all pretty close together. Larson not getting away.
Yep, exactly. All those guys running very similar lap times. But one thing we need to point out, on that last restart, all 3 of these guys took the outside line. So that's been the dominant line here the last couple of restarts. Think back to the start of the race, nobody wanted to be on that side. Everybody was fighting to get to the bottom. So we talk about what makes good drivers at this racetrack. It's a track of balls, and you have to adapt to that. These three guys right here are as good at it as anybody.
And for Sheldon Creed right now, it's just evaluating what you're seeing out of 88. What do you need your car to do better to match what he has? He's very close. He's been keeping Larson honest through these laps, but he just needs to evaluate that and relay it to his crew chief to say, here's what I'm seeing out of the 88. Here's what I'm not able to do. Here's what I need to be able to do what he's doing.
Three dirt racers at the front of the field. Sheldon Creed starting to run some dirt. Justin Allgaier, before he came to stock car racing, was a dirt racer. People might forget that. And of course, we've talked a lot about Larson's exploits on the dirt.
That's just because you're a dirt racer.
Well, you gotta give him some love.
You gotta give props. You're you got those people.
Those are my people. That's right. Good race here between Joe Gibbs Racing teammates. Battle for fifth. Brandon Jones has it. Brent Cruz wants it.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. The 19 is
come
as
alive.
fast as anyone on the racetrack. He's done a really good job just managing this race. Every time I look up, he's passed another car. He sees on the inside of his teammate right here, Brandon Jones. Brent Cruz, that car actually won the last time we were here at Bristol with Eric Almirola driving it. Brent Cruz wheeling it really well tonight.
And what I've seen out of him is what we saw practice earlier today. And if you watch how he's able to ramp that line on the bottom, and he doesn't use a lot of the racetrack on the exit of the corner, which is a mark of a car that's just staying so well through the center, turning and getting a lot of left front rotation. And you see it on both ends of the racetrack. He was doing that exact thing in practice. It's pretty impressive. You have more, Heather?
Yes, I do. I actually talked to his crew chief, Seth Chopra, and he said one thing that they wanted to do was make sure that car could drive to that PJ1 and hug the bottom. So they came into this race knowing that that's what they want to do, and they are sure executing it right now.
Cruz does have experience in other series here. First start in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, won the ARCA race here last fall, and also ran the Truck Series race that same night. So does have some race experience on this high bank half mile.
And Parker, you talked about the green gloves on Sam Mayer and all the action they had. But you watch the hands of Brent Cruz inside of this car. They're extremely steady. You watch, he puts the wheel in it. We'll see when he comes off the exit of the corner here. We can get a good shot out the windshield. Very smooth hands. Again, another sign of a car, maybe a little tight, but gripped up. Look at that inside of the car. You see him not having to really work inside. It's having a little traffic right now, so it's a different situation. But 19 cars hooked up.
Back up front, race for second. Starting to heat up again. Sheldon Creed, the 00. With some lap traffic between he and Justin Allgaier. Larson has pulled away from this duo ever so slightly. Lead over second place for him is about a second and a half.
And Allgaier, he doesn't quite look what I usually see out of Allgaier here at Bristol, which is I feel like when we get in these longer runs, 25, 30, 40 laps, that's when you see classic Justin Allgaier at Bristol. He seems to just have great long run pace no matter what's in that race car. But tonight, we heard him talk about the inconsistency of the PJ1 on the bottom, and it was tough to run consistent laps. And I feel like I'm just seeing that there's sudden wiggles and movements from that car, just reading with car language a little bit. It just seems not quite in the racetrack and not as smooth as what you were describing with Brent Cruz and what we usually see out of just now.
Talk about Cruz looking good. The one car is as well. Connor Zilich running fourth and starting to track down his Junior Motorsports teammate and Justin Allgaier. Everybody's still chasing the 88. Larson in control.
35 laps to go yet in stage 2. Kyle Larson, the current race leader, and he's jumped out to a 2-second lead. Sheldon Creed and Justin Allgaier were hanging with him until heavier lap traffic came upon Larson. Now he started to pull away again, just like he did back at stage 1. Sheldon Creed sits in second still. Justin Allgaier in third. Connor Zilich fourth. And rookie Brent Cruz in fifth. Brandon Jones is sixth place. Seventh for William Sawalich. Sam Mayer in eighth. Corey Day ninth. And rounding out the top 10 is Carson Quapple. Austin Hill at 11th, Jesse Love 12th, Jeb Burton 13th, Ryan Sieg 14th, and Parker Retzlaff at 15th. 16th is Taylor Gray, Dean Thompson 17th, Sammy Smith 18th, Brendan Poole 19th, and Jeremy Clements 20th. Raja Crew 21st, Harrison Burt 22nd, Kyle Sieg 23rd, Patrick Staropoli 24th, and Anthony Alfredo in 25th. LeVar Scott 26th, Blaine Perkins 27th, J.J. Yaley last car in the lead lap at 28th. First car lap down is Josh Balicki in 29th, and Greg Golding 30th. Ryan Ellis 31st, Logan Bearden 32nd, Mason Maggio 33rd, Josh Williams 34th, 35th for Joey Gase, Blake Lothian 36th, Garrett Smithley 37th, and Austin Green 38th rounds out our full 38-car field. Lap 142 of 300, just under an hour into the race, 4 cautions, 6 lead changes, and 28 laps under yellow in the first 143 laps. Kyle Larson has led for the most so far today, as he has already eclipsed 100 laps led in just 2 more laps. He's at 98 currently and counting. Next closest, Zilich with 27 laps led from the pole. We'll take another quick break while the commercial break is ongoing on the CW. Don't forget to vote for who you think will win today's race between Kyle Larson or the field. That will close at the end of Stage 2. You're listening live to the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at Bristol. All right. So lap 59 of 85 in Stage 2, lap 144 of 300 total.
At the front of the field, NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series on the CW, the Propane 300, riding with the car in third and looking at the car in second, up by the wall at Sheldon Creed in the 00 in the runner-up spot. But Connor Zilich has come alive here over the last 20 laps or so, got by Allgaier, and now he's challenging Creed for the runner-up spot.
And we're finally in a long run. Yeah. So, to me, that is when you see who has a good handling car and who's struggling. But I really like what I see out of the racetrack. The fact that these guys are on the bottom. Creed is starting to move that all the way up to the top. If they can get the very top worked in, there'll be a tremendous amount of speed up there, and that makes it even a racier track.
Creed is trying, but I was watching that one car. We were about 10 laps prior to this, and he started to really come online and was ripping some really fast lap times compared to the leaders. Now has gravitated to the top because of some of that traffic, which is he's falling a little bit further back from Creed. But I like what I'm seeing out of Connor Zilich and that one car. And it's odd enough, to say this is a good run for Connor Zilich, who won so many races last year, but this is really good speed.
See right here, the 21 car Austin Hill got the lucky dog at the stage break, the waiver round, the free pass, and has done a great job recovering. But look at this moment. Oh, there you go.
Kiss the wall.
Oh, just a kiss.
Not bad. Oh, Parker, to go back to Connor Zilich real quick, he does have speed, but every time we go to his onboard, we can see him driving the car. It looks nervous, and that's not a good sensation to have here. Rick Cruz's car looks very comfortable, but as I watch Connor and the wheel, and you see him solid on the wheel, it's not quite so bad around the top. A little bit steadier, but it just looks to me like he's having to work awful hard inside of there.
These guys knifing their way through lap traffic. Well, that's with the slider there on Blaine Perkins.
That was pretty. That's no man's land right there when you get in the middle, though. You don't want to be on the bottom or you want to be on the top. When you get in that middle section, there is no grip.
What was cool is what you referenced there, Dylan. You saw Sheldon overspeed the entry a little bit just to clear that car, and then you saw the flames out of the exhaust pipes through at the exit, basically, because you had to check up that speed once you cleared that lap car on the outside.
A little bit of racetrack to sort this battle out. Justin Allgaier hanging around. Allgaier's had a couple moments over the last few laps. Had one that cost him the third spot there to Zilich. These two have been around each other for most of the night. It's Ryan Sieg in the 39 and Parker Retzlaff in the 99. They run 14th and 15th.
And we referenced how good of a run Parker Retzlaff was having earlier in the race. He's faded here a little bit towards the end of stage 2. You said it, back to about 15th. He's working really high on the racetrack, trying to find grip. And if you can get in a rhythm, running that line that he is, there is a lot of speed to be found there. The tire wear actually is a little bit less. Very top of the racetrack doesn't work the tires quite as hard once it gets rubbered in. And he's better than Sieg. You just can't pass him on the bottom, so he's having to follow right now.
Well, when the top becomes dominant, then the passes get really difficult. And what we referenced out of Sheldon Creed becomes one of the dominant ways to pass, which is to shoot to the bottom, clear that car on the outside, and overspeed the entry, and then sort of check it up at the exit portion of the corner. As you look at Zilich trying to work the inside on the right side of your screen for second. More traffic in front of him.
I'm trying to figure out who's picking who here, because it looked to me like Connor's in the right position, but now you see they're stuck. The 35 is going to get his way. He's loose. Just Sheldon goes right through the middle.
Middle opens up.
Fun.
And just like that, he's got 3 or 4 car lengths in hand over what was a bumper-to-bumper battle for this runner-up spot. Zilich still can't find a clean groove to get through this slower traffic. And it's brought Allgaier and Cruz into the mix as well in this race for third.
It's so hard to get out of the way here for these lappers. You're trying to pick a line, but when they get side by side, there's just nowhere to go. See Allgaier, we referenced him earlier. Looked like that car was inconsistent, but here we are at the end of a long run, and 7's putting it together again.
Highest running dash for cash car. They're all in the top 18. Jones and Zilich run 6th and 7th, and Raja at the back of that group.
You know, Allgaier has only made $700,000 for cash over the years. He has done an incredible job at capitalizing on this promotion, and that is an immense amount of money for the LA series. It's some money, yeah. It's basically equivalent to probably winning roughly about 14 races. So in prize money, it's an awesome situation, and it's really cool for his dedication to the series to be so successful in the Dash for Cash. Cash, look up ahead of him, Big Creed, and how high he's working now. The entry's starting to open up. See him getting right up against the wall. And the one thing you'll know here as a driver is if you're high enough is when it gets really quiet inside the car, because the exhaust gets against it. You're like, yeah, that's it. It's so rough also as you're going up there. You mentioned in turn 1, that bump getting in, kind of hanging on, bouncing up through that. Then you hit all that grip. And one other part about this is we talk about why it's difficult to run up there. When you go to that entry phase right there and you see where it's really clean track, you're just inching up lap by lap, and it's all by feel. There's nothing else that tells you how high you can go up in that track before you essentially jump the cushion and suddenly have no grip, and you're in the wall. And so it's completely, and I'm talking fractions of an inch difference on the entry to the corners at 130 miles an hour that you're having to just move slightly higher, lap by lap, and then occasionally go a little bit too far, but gather it back up before you hit that wall. Well, we saw an example of Austin Hill, for the most part, doing that, right? Like getting into turn 1, he got a little loose, hit that bump, and got over the edge. And it's sketchy when you get over the edge.
Just 5 to go here in stage 2. Larson's lead has extended to 4 seconds over Sheldon Creed. These two Gibbs teammates been attached at the hip the last few laps. Brandon Jones, William Zilich, both eligible for Dash for Cash. Zilich, last week's winner at Rockingham. Brandon Jones, second in 2 of the last 3 races, including last week.
It never ceases to amaze me when you watch a car running the bottom such a shorter distance, get close to that outside car, and then the amount of momentum that outside car will have. It's just such a fun thing to watch. One of the guys that did the wave around is right in front of Larson here, the 32. He's going to try to stay on the lead lap right. I think he's going to be safe, but he was able to do the wave around on that last stage break. They put themselves in a good position. He's managed this now to be able to stay on the lead lap. Roger Cruz runs at 19th.
Yeah, Larson's lapped up to 20th. So he's not moving at the same clip as he was in the spring race last year when he lapped up to 13th or something by the end of stage 1. But it has been another dominating performance for Kyle Larson. 6th stage win here at Bristol. Larson with the Bristol stage sweep. He gets it done in the 88. Sheldon Creed, Justin Allgaier, Connor Zilich, and Brent Cruz, top 5 at the conclusion of stage 2. One of the most beautiful parts of the country and one of the coolest racetracks in the country, tucked in the Tennessee hillside, the world's fastest half mile, Bristol Motor Speedway.
All right, so Kyle Larson, stage 1 and stage 2 winner at the Bristol Motor Speedway. No shocker there, considering that it is Kyle Larson and it is Bristol Motor Speedway. Welcome to today's live commentary stream. If you are just tuning in to the Kyle Larson show, 170 laps complete. Larson has led for over 100 of them, winning the first 2 stages. Really no competition there. He had over a 6-second lead at the end of stage 2. Short run Creed and Allgaier able to keep up with him, but then once Larson gets into lap traffic, he pulls right away. As of right now, your stage 2 results for the top 10 and the drivers getting points would be Larson first, Sheldon Creed second, Justin Allgaier third, Connor Zilich in fourth, Brent Cruz fifth, Then 6th is William Sawalich, Brandon Jones 7th, Sam Mayer 8th, Corey Day 9th, Carson Quapple rounds out the top 10. So pretty easy going there. This is our 5th yellow of the race. We had 1 caution for incident in stage 2, 2 of them in stage 1. That was our longest green flag run of the day that we just had there of over 55 laps, over 65 laps, in fact, to the end of the 2nd stage. Everybody should be hitting pit road this time by, so the pit lane will be busy. Fuel window is now open to make it to the end of the race. And could definitely be the final pit stops of the day, especially if we don't end up seeing any more cautions. Regina Huddleston, Austin Sullivan, thanks for tuning in. I don't think I shouted either one of you two out, but I saw you in the chat a little bit ago. Thanks for tuning in. How far away did you have to drive to a motel at Bristol? So I stayed the last time I went. I can't remember the town, but it was like 45 minutes away from Bristol, and it was on I-81, headed back towards on the Virginia state side, I should say specifically, heading back towards where I-77 is in Virginia. So I stayed about 45 minutes off of 81 that way, so that way it'd make my drive shorter coming back home the next day, because I had about an 8-hour drive. So, you know, I drove out of the way a little bit, make it a 45-minute shorter drive. Hotel prices were a lot more reasonable the further away from Bristol that I had gotten. So, yeah, that's where I stayed. I usually try to set it up that way, especially with it being a night race and having to come home the next day after a night race is always kind of tough, because I'm usually only running on like 6 to 7 hours of sleep, if that. By the time I get done editing and everything, when I get back to the hotel room and then leave out between 6 and 8 the next morning so I can get home at a reasonable time, knowing that I had about an 8-hour drive. So, yeah, that's where I stayed specifically. It really probably depends on the direction you're coming from. I haven't really stayed in the same hotel multiple times much at Bristol, or at least not intentionally. There are certain hotels that I have really liked, and I would shout them out if I was in a particular area regularly. Like, I like staying in Pell City when I go down to Talladega. So if you can get a hotel in the Pell City area, I highly recommend that. Yeah, Bristol, I just kind of shop around, if you will, every time I go.
Topic tonight, tire fall off in terms of new tires, so really track position is everything.
Look at the lead Larson's going to have there.
Let's head down to Progressive Pit Road, and we'll start with Kim.
And Sheldon Creed in that bright yellow 00 car. The team reminding him to park it straight in the box, nose out if he can. Fired off really good, but the longer he goes, the freer he gets. Saying can't get into the corner as comfortably as I would like. Obviously in the box a lot better than he did last time. As we look at the number 1 of Connor Zilich, started off neutral, like tight at the 5/8 mark. So they'll make an adjustment in the right rear, 3/4 of a round. Hit it? And for a race leader, Kyle Larson, he said that he's good on the short run balance, but just started slipping on entry toward the end, so slight adjustment to tighten him up there. Also, the 7 of Justin Allgaier in the middle of your screen, plowing in the middle, nothing to lean on that right rear. He said it's worse when I get to the top. Also in for Brent Cruz there at the bottom of your screen. He said he's really good, just need more right rear stick on exit, but not much, so just a half of the previous adjustment for the 19.
Progressive race off pit road. Kyle Larson enters with the big lead and exits with the big lead. Allgaier, Zilich, Creed, and Sawalich, the first 5 off pit road. Final stage at Bristol up next.
Tim Fowler, welcome to the stream as well. So, on to stage 3 here at Bristol. Kyle Larson winning the first 2 stages, winning the race coming out of the pits as well there. He'll retain the race lead. So far, so good for that 88 team on pit road. They were not so good when Larson had lost the lead late at Darlington. All it takes is 1 pit stop to kind of knock him out of it. So as of right now, so far, keeping him in the game. 122 laps still to go as we're under caution for the stage 2 break. So when we get back to racing, we'll have a little bit over 100 laps left. But 100 laps at Bristol is really not that long of a period of time. It only took us 1 hour and 12 minutes to get to where we're at right now, well past halfway. So not a lot of time left in this one, especially if we stay under green for a lengthy period of time. 3 cautions for incident. Again, so far, 8 lead changes now, most of which on pit road during the cautions, but we have had a couple on track, mostly when Larson took the race lead away, first from Zilich and then from Ryan Sieg on the alternating pit strategy at the end of stage 1. Larson led every lap of stage 2 under green flag side of things at least. So looking to get another good jump on the restart. Justin Allgaier is going to be in second place now. Connor Zilich third and Sheldon Creed fourth for the upcoming restart. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC. Stage 3 will begin shortly. I ended the chat poll a little bit ago. 64% of 42 votes taking Kyle Larson for the win tonight. And 36% of those 42 votes taking somebody other than Larson, a.k.a. the field. So thank you for voting for those that did. And we will have another chat poll open tomorrow during our Cup Series live commentary stream, and that will close at the end of Stage 2 as well. Tonight's Stage 2 diecast showing, as we usually have here on the channel, I've got this Greg Biffle number 60 Charter paint scheme. This is actually from the 2002 season in which Greg Biffle won his first and only, at the time, Busch Series title. Obviously now known as the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. But anyway, he was able to win the championship in 2002. This is a die-cast from that season. Carl Edwards won quite a few races in the 60 car back in his full-time days of driving at Roush in the Busch Series, and similar paint scheme to this as well, but this one is my man, the Biff. And figured I'd show off this one. So I had a 2001 championship Busch Series car, and now a 2002 Harvick and Biffle for tonight's die-cast showing. Doubling up on the stages here today. We're up to 50 likes as well, so thank you everybody to have hit that like button. Be sure to do so if you haven't done yet. Helps the channel out a ton. All right.
Test your luck and make your power play by heading to your local lottery retailer to get in the game for tonight's estimated Powerball jackpot of $35 million. Let's look at our golden moment brought to you by Golden Corral. There have been several tonight. Lots of great racing in the first 2 stages. Hard to go 3 wide at Bristol and it not turn ugly. It doesn't stop them from trying. We've had a couple of those. Again, 3 wide. 9 involved in both of those. Carson's pretty common, and that's again, it's and hustle on that thing on the top every start. Well, it's time to go now, the final stage. So the intensity meter going to get ramped up here over the final 118 laps. We've had a driver change in the 42. Logan Bearden out. Brad Perez has jumped aboard this car for the 2nd time this year. Let's get some team radio. So he got in this car mid-race at Circuit of the Americas earlier this year as well. Brad, we've talked about him. Works on teams, always has his stuff with him, and always gets the call to jump in these cars in an emergency.
Top 3, again, took the outside right here. You see Creed, Allgaier, and Larson. Zilich decided to go to the bottom, see what he can do.
Green flag back in the air.
For the final stage, back to green at Bristol with 118 to go.
Connor didn't get a good initial launch, but had a really good 1 and 2 right here. We'll see. We've seen the top of 3 and 4, though, maybe be a little bit better on some of these restarts. You see Creed. Real. Wait, down to the bottom, but he recovered well. Creed's going to try and hang on the outside. But Justin Allgaier clears him. This is key for him if he wants to be able to combat against Larson. The car is not doing what he looks, though. Yeah, you see him get washed up off of the PJ1 on the bottom. He is struggling inside of the 7 right now. This does not have the fire-off speed that he needs. Creed is hanging on Really good though on the outside of Connor. You got to think with the 7 though running the bottom, that's hurting the one who's blowing it right there.
And it's so tough to do what Sheldon Creed is doing here on a restart up front. Usually the outside lane is at a big disadvantage for the first. Still is something fast.
So Wallach going to try to capitalize and get the twofer down into turn number 1. He goes to 4th, trying to get a third for Creed as he's sideways.
Creed is like, get away from me. Let me down. I got to deal with the other one.
Go time at Bristol. All take and no give. So Wallach trying to take the 3rd spot from Creed, with Zilich back in the mix as well.
He stepped over the mark. It's a little hard. I like the move, but he got a little too high.
Well, he was so close to clearing Williamson Wallach and getting away from all this, so he absolutely sent it down into 3 on the top side. It just didn't stick, and it got way too loose, and Wallach was able to get to the inside of him. It just doesn't net out for Creed.
Sheldon settles into 4th. Here's the race for 5th. Same Mayer inside the green black car. Zilich in the 1. On board with him now. He'll clear Mayer and settle into 5th.
All these guys really fight for the bottom again. It's almost like they got to the top, still feel the grip that they felt earlier. See some of them here kind of forced to be up there. Corey Day on the bottom, Jesse Love. Hear that second groove just a little bit.
So the race for 14th, Corey Day against Jesse Love.
Got to give a shout out to Harrison Burton. We haven't really talked about him today. This has been a good track for Harrison. Sam Hunt Racing.
Harrison had a season best run at 13th last week at Rockingham. As you said, Jamie, great track for him. Trying to keep the momentum rolling in the 24. Back up front, Sawallich has come to light to the outside of Sheldon Creed. He goes to 3rd.
Momentum, it's a real thing. Won at Rockingham last weekend, comes here, qualifies on the pole. Mennering's made some adjustments to that car now. See, William goes all the way to the top. Have a massive run here down the front stretch. Clear Sheldon. We'll see what he decides to do. He goes back to the bottom.
And Creed had actually kind of reeled him back in. So Wallach got past Creed in that scuffle there with he and Zilich. So Sheldon was back on the offense there, trying to take the 3rd spot back.
Oh, and 18 got loose. He missed the bottom. Was back again. And be disciplined. Look at it out.
Mason Maggio, the 91 for DGM, up in smoke.
Oof.
Was our first option of the night. And he'll bring it out again here with 106 laps to go. Was running 35th, 3 laps off the pace. He'll scatter the folks in the infield there.
Yeah, spraying for bugs.
That engine has gone.
Whoa.
Fire, get out. You're on fire. Get out, get out, get out.
Safety crew and
Back it up, boys.
folks down there running for cover.
They stopped at a good spot. There's 4 firemen standing there with fire extinguishers, so that's good.
Yeah, they're on it right away.
Smoke is so bad inside of the car.
Well, and the worst thing you can do is stop, because then the
Right,
smoke
right.
engulfs the whole car. So it's easier in that situation to keep it rolling. He did a good job getting in to the inside there off the racetrack.
There's Hollywood from Justin Allgaier's crew down there helping
there's
Mason get out of the car.
There's a camera. I can tell you right now, Hollywood's going to be close to it.
That's a shame for Mason. He's had a tough couple races this year.
The smoke came out of that car.
Yeah, he pulled in over on the backstretch. By the time this is off of turn 2, so all the way down the backstretch here. Able to get it to the inside relatively quickly, but smoked out the whole facility here.
Yeah, he
That
did.
is so scary as a driver because you don't know if there's oil or how much oil there is or what line he was running.
And you can't see.
Yeah,
when you come
you
upon
can't
it.
see. Look at that.
Wow. You can see he was already on fire before he even came to a stop. All that oil and fluid and everything just ignites on those headers.
Get out of the way. They're trying to put it out.
We don't normally see engines expire in that dramatic a fashion this day and age.
Good to see Mason out of the car. There he is right there, and no worse for wear, it appears. Under caution for the 6th time tonight here at Bristol. 105 laps to go as we sit now. Larson, Allgaier, and Sawallich still at the front of the field.
All right, red flag conditions now displayed here at the Bristol Motor Speedway for the first time tonight. We actually had a red flag during the O'Reilly race yesterday as well, so probably a lot of fluid laid down on the racetrack following the smoke show put down by Mason Maggio and then his car catching fire in the infield section of the racetrack. So Kyle Larson leads as of right now. Justin Allgaier sits in second, William Zilich third, and Sheldon Creed in the fourth spot. Connor Zilich in fifth. Sixth is Sam Mayer. Brent Cruz in seventh. Brandon Jones eighth. Carson Kvapil ninth. Ryan Sieg currently rounding out the top 10. 105 laps to go at the time of the red flag. Carson Kvapil ran the 91 car at Coda. Yes, he did. And I think he'll be in that car a couple more times this season as well, as he tries to piece together a full schedule, running several different cars in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Same for Raja Karuta. We'll see at Junior Motorsports for part of the team season as well. So fluid on the racetrack, reason for the red flag, and a lot of it, just like we had after a big crash yesterday in the Truck Series race. Might push this race into going a bit further. So while this red flag is going on, we'll take a quick break. You're listening live, KRC. Our full flag-to-flag coverage continues of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at Bristol. All right. Wanted to put out a quick little PSA/update on the channel. We haven't done any NASCAR gaming content over the last couple of months since the actual NASCAR season itself had started. Once we got to Speed Weeks at Daytona, it's been all live commentary stuff on the channel. I've been kind of in between places, as you've noticed over the last couple months, between being here and then having to drive. So in the middle of kind of settling in, I will let you guys know when we will get back to the gaming stuff. I've gotten some comments over the last couple of weeks about, hey, it's been a while since you've done that. You know, what's going on with that? So just putting that out there here tonight on the live commentary side while we have a red flag and I have time to talk about it. The hope is within the next probably 3 weeks or so to getting back into the gaming content on a regular basis on the channel, obviously with these live commentary streams as well.
Brought to you by Progressive. Save when you keep a motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit Progressive.
Red flag already lifted.
And this is a tremendous amount of smoke that only continues to increase. Mason did a great job getting off the racetrack, getting back into the garage area where it engulfed in flames.
It looks like he left it in gear, right? Like when you blow an engine up, the first thing they'll do is reach over and put it in neutral so the engine doesn't continue to spin and pump out oil and everything. So it looks like he had left it in gear and it just kept getting worse.
Yeah, and I'm assuming being in that position there with the amount of smoke there, it was tough for him to see most likely inside that car. And he was just trying to roll it to the point that he could get out. But most importantly, thumbs up right there. That's what you love to see.
Tip of the cap to all the safety folks down there who got on the scene quickly. And let's hear from Mason now. He's with Heather.
Yeah, and a scary moment there for him as he pulled it into the garage area. First off, are you okay, Mason? We just want to make sure you're good after that incident.
Yeah, I'm all good. I knew there was going to be a lot of sparks under the lights here at Bristol. I just didn't expect my car to ignite it. So just a shame. I mean, we were doing okay. I mean, we were hoping for a better day, but it was weird. I just saw the oil pressure just starting to drop out of nowhere on that last restart. And then lo and behold, I was in smoke. And, I mean, we just lost the motor at that point. I didn't expect to go up in flames like that. But for all the family, mom, and all that at home, I'm good. But, yeah, definitely a bummer. Wish we would have had a much better day with our DGM Racing Chevy. Appreciate SI Yachts coming on board at the last minute. We put this deal together on Friday, but just a shame. I felt like our car had good speed. We just needed to get a couple breaks, and we would have been right where we needed to be. But it's the way it goes, and hopefully we'll rebound at Kansas.
Thanks, Mason. Glad you're okay.
Mason's fifth start this year, not going to end the way that he wanted it to. Back under yellow, getting the field set to go in stage 3 at Bristol.
That was a very quick red flag. Only lasted a few minutes, it seemed. Back under caution flag conditions here at Bristol. So I'd like to see that quick cleanup and hopefully get the cars back under green flag racing here before long. 42 laps of caution so far, 8 lead changes, 6 yellows in total, 1 red flag, and we're just under an hour and 25 minutes into tonight's race. Lap 198 of 300 so far, and about 28 of those into stage number 3. Yeah, big fire. Big oil fire in the infield at Bristol. Brennan Poole was a free pass during the caution. Thank you for that, Austin. Yes, he was. In the 23rd place position. He'll be back on the lead lap. So now the battle for 24th will be for the free pass spot. To the next yellow if we do get one. Garrett Smithley, after a spin earlier in stage 2, went into the garage area for a bit. He is back on the racetrack 22 laps down. So Mason Maggio, the only car retired from the race. Austin Green, who had that flat tire way back in stage 1, brought out a yellow. He was on pit road for a lengthy period of time. He is now 9 laps down, but still on track. Had quite a few DNFs in the truck race last night. I believe 9 of them total. But none so far today through 200 out of 300 laps. Connor Burke, welcome into the stream. I think the rest of the race will be the Kyle Larson show. I think it will up until we see another pit stop. And then we'll see if he wins the race out of the pits again. But as long as he keeps winning the race off pit road, I don't see him losing this. That was the only way he lost it at Darlington. It's the only way I think he loses it here. He could get beat on a late race restart situation too. Especially with a veteran Justin Allgaier in the front row with him. It could be possible. He did lose a couple spots on the initial restart earlier, but he was also in row 2 and not row 1 when that happened.
Cerakote, the top detailers in the world, trust Cerakote, shouldn't you? Back under yellow, 101 laps to go here at Bristol. Kim Williams-Sawalich runs in the 3rd spot.
That's right. And we talk about all of the things that happen when you win. And it's not an exaggeration. A win goes a really long way. And that's what Jeff Mendring wanted to really hone in on. So let's get a Toyota driver update. Just talking about what that win means. He just couldn't get the little things right last year. So the win was a reminder that William deserves to be here, deserves to be in this series. And it was also a really good understanding of what putting an entire race together feels like. But again, it meant a lot to not only William, but also the crew. Jeff, this entire crew, though, are the original guys from last year. So all of the crew members who went through the heartache of last year are getting to see the fruits of their labor this year. William just struggling with the entry of the corners here tonight.
First win for that JGR 18. Thanks, Ken. First win for that car since Phoenix in March of 2023. So nice for William and Jeff Mendering to get back in victory lane. Coming back to green, 99 to go. Larson and Sawalich will be on the front row through the Echo Park restart zone. Through the gears, Larson trying to get going. Oh, check out. Got a tap from Allgaier that propelled him to the front. Sawalich hanging tough there on the inside lane.
And there was a lot of checkup from there. It just seemed like Larson maybe didn't quite get going the way they expected. Justin gave him a big they checked up some cars behind them.
Allgaier still trying to make the outside lane work. On board with Connor Zilich. Rides in 5th. Sheldon Creed out the front windshield. That side-by-side race for 2nd. Allgaier's got it now. He moves it down in front of Sawalich. They stack up there on that bottom lane.
When he got to the bottom there, we saw there the last restart he had big wiggles, wasn't able to hold the bottom the way he wanted.
Cruz is rolling the top well.
He says everybody else is going to run a freight train around the bottom. I'll just go to the high side here.
Creed is super loose right there. He saw
the run. The Brick Crew's getting to the top, moved up to be in front of him right here. Let's hold up the progress now. The 19. You guys are talking about Allgaier and Swalch up front. They're not just racing for a second. That's the two of the Dasher team. Sure, getting $100,000 on the line. So racing for more than just the win tonight for that group.
They're making $800,000 for just that guy in his career in the Dash for Cash.
And 1-2 last year, Homestead, and right here at Bristol.
I really think the one car that can compete for the win with Larson tonight is that 19 of Brick Cruz. I watched, we talked about how good he is wrapping around the bottom. They had a bad pit stop and he got behind, but he's done an exceptional job on almost all these restarts. Sure, he's frustrated right now with the 00, pulling up in front of him, seeing the momentum he had, but Brick Cruz, awesome job tonight.
And I think some of that is he needs a bit of a longer run. He really comes online 30, 40 laps into a run where he starts to display the speed of that race car. Right now, it's the hardest time to pass. Everyone's having a chance to cool their stuff down and refire pretty well. But as it goes along this run, he'll start to show how fast he is as he just gets up behind Sheldon Creed.
But he wants the 18 there in front of him to continue to run that higher line. Swalch's been doing that down here in 3 and 4. You want to take dime in the corner, see how low they exit. That makes it so hard if you're the 19. You need a little more racetrack. But Swalch has been running the bottom down here in 1 and 2, and then continues to run the top in 3 and 4. We reference that's been the better groove. Ooh, Creed's going to get to his outside here. Can he get beside him, though, down the front stretch?
4th, 5th, and 6th on your screen.
Second and third just ran their fastest lap of the race. That's Justin Allgaier and Connor Zilich. So the track is cooling down. The grid level is going up.
Look out, look out.
Tight.
That was close.
I think he's going to get him here, though. The
Checks the launch up just enough.
Yeah, the 18 got a little loose on entry right there. Creed committed to the top. We'll see now if his teammate, Brick Cruz, can get by William Sawalich. If I can take a look at it, not clear. I kind of knew at the last minute he could feel it.
Clear-ish.
Kind of. Yeah. It's Sheldon made a good decision not to force that.
And Cruz able to get by Sawalich relatively quickly as well. So he may have been impeding the progress of that 00 at 19. We'll see what they can do now that they've got by the 18.
And that was big for Creed to get away from them because he just set the fastest lap of the top 5 right there. So he's absolutely flying right now on the top side. He had to clear and start to get away to utilize the top. But he's got serious speed. That 00 really has been maybe the closest in speed to Larson at times in this race.
We'll keep watching him in the 19. It's time to go full throttle, though, with Sound Gear. Wherever sound is a problem, Sound Gear has the solution. Scan the QR code to learn more at soundgear.com. $81 to go. Bristol. Kyle Larson has been out front for 176 laps today. His lead just over a second over Justin Allgaier and Connor Zilich.
But he is most likely going to have company because Sheldon Creed and Brent Cruz are absolutely flying. They've been 2/10 a lap faster at times than the cars ahead of them. I believe Creed's been running the top side mostly, especially down here in 1 and 2s. You see that? But he is ripping the top right now. Consistently been the fastest car on the racetrack.
And it seems like 79 to go. It seems like that's a big number, but it may take him 30 laps to get around these two. So he's got to get to these guys at second and third and make a move quickly if he wants any shot at Larson.
Well, and the one car just reacted to what he sees in his mirror. The spotter's going to tell you, look, the 00 is catching you. He's running high. you look in your mirror and you see that, you're going to start moving around trying to find the grip you need. And I went right back to the bottom here, but look at Creed on the left-hand top of your screen. Running as high as you can run on this racetrack, right on the verge, and be able to enter high. Once the track opens up on entry like that, you can start generating tremendous lap times. He was running 16:10 just a few laps ago. That's only 2 or 3 tenths slower than what we were running qualifying earlier today.
Allgaier wanted the best.
Oh, look at
Have the best and playing defense, but he may not be quick enough here to do anything with Sheldon Creed. He's run these guys down in a hurry and wasting no time. Creed goes to third. Zilich next on his list.
And crazy as it sounds, he's running the fastest lap time from the top. The next fastest car is right behind Allgaier. It's Cruz, and he's all the way on the bottom. So those guys, it's not just a part of the track you got to be on. They just have really quick cars right now. As good, if not better, than the leader, Kyle Larson.
Creed has run so well here the last couple of years.
I don't think they're good enough.
Races in the spring race last year.
Not really
Get a chance to show what he had.
picking up enough time, and Larson hasn't gone to the top yet.
In the race, but this is one of his best tracks.
He was just the fastest car on the racetrack once again.
All right, so Kyle Larson leads at the commercial break right now. He's got about a 1.4 second advantage over Connor Zilich in second. Sheldon Creed 1.8 seconds back in third. Justin Allgaier 2.4 seconds out of the lead in fourth, and Brent Cruz 2.8 back in fifth. William Sawalt's a pole sitter in sixth at 4.9 seconds back, 5 seconds out of the lead for Carson Quapple in seventh. Sam Mayer at 8, 5.6 back. Ryan Sieg back into ninth place at 5.9 seconds out of the lead, and Sammy Smith rounds out the top 10. He is 6.4 seconds off of leader Kyle Larson. Larson leads. He's closing in on 200 laps led today out of 233 completed, 300 laps in this race entirely. So we're down under 70 laps to go. 8 lead changes, 6 cautions, 1 for incident in each stage 2, stage 3, and 2 in stage 1. The 2 stage breaks at lap 85 and lap 170. Kyle Larson has won the first 2 stages of today's race already, trying to go for the clean sweep and his second O'Reilly Auto Parts Series win and his third start in the series here this season tonight. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC. Our full flag-to-flag coverage continues at Bristol. $58 likes on the stream. Thank you, everybody, for hitting the like button. We did get to our like goal, but we'll see as close as we can get. We're at 50. Why not make it 60? We're only a couple away. And from 60, why not 70? The more the merrier. You guys are the backbone of the channel. Allow me to be able to do these live commentary streams every weekend. I greatly appreciate that. Connor Zilich a little bit quicker than Larson those last couple of laps. Sheldon Creed and Brent Cruz kind of managing with Larson since moving to the top, but we haven't really seen Larson venture up there yet. So I'm not trusting anybody to catch and pass Larson at the moment because of that. So we'll have to wait and see what that's going to look like. The longer this green flag run goes, if Larson can stretch his lead out again. The 2 longer green flag runs that we had today, stage 1 and stage 2, those runs lasted about 50 to 65 laps. Larson stretched out to a 5-second lead and a 6-second lead before cautions, one of which the end of stage 2 was when he had the 6-second lead. Bunched everything back together. And he only had as much of about a 1.5 lead during this point in the run. Zilich continues to run him down, now only within 0.9 of a second of our race leader with just 62 laps to go. Brent Cruz running down Justin Allgaier finally ventures to the top, but his car's just not rolling as well as those that have already passed him like Zilich and Creed during the run, and Cruz trying to do the same.
Cruz going toe-to-toe here. Bristol, Brent moving to the top, who's been super fast from the bottom. Allgaier tonight just has seemingly not had the car that he usually has here. Just can't seem to quite have the consistency and doesn't have that pace in the long run that we used to see out of him.
Still is at the front of the dash for cash cars, though, so not all is lost, even if he does soldier home inside just the top 5 for the 7 car.
Well, and he's not having a bad night.
No.
It's just that he's won 3 races this year.
Right.
We expect him to be a contender to win tonight, and he hasn't been that, good enough to go up there and contend for the win with the 88 of Larson.
5 straight top 5s coming into tonight for Allgaier, though, so he is on pace to do that. But got his hands full with the 19 for sure here as we're down under 60 to go.
Yeah, the 19 was good earlier around the bottom, but as this run goes on, see a lot of these guys migrating to the top. The more they run up there, the more rubber they put down, the grippier that gets. Allgaier really sliding that car. It'd be interesting to see here. See, he goes to the bottom. Can Britt get enough of a run on the exit? So much shorter around the bottom. That's so much fun. Look at that. Those guys, one runs the bottom, and you're just going where they're not. That's why the drivers love coming to this racetrack, and what makes it so much fun to watch is just seeing guys do their crafts. It's one of the most fun things to experience in NASCAR when you're in the offense. It can be very frustrating when you're on the defense in terms of trying to cover on the defense.
You're trying to cover and just something you just know you're maybe holding them up a tick, but you're just hoping that things turn as you cycle through the run, and maybe it comes your way. Maybe you catch some lucky traffic to hold them off for just a bit longer, and that's a really tough thing to do. Obviously, Justin has a ton of experience at it, but it can be really hard to try and essentially block multiple lanes corner by corner.
You see Creed there just ahead of these two. He was trapped on the bottom working through some of this lap traffic for 5 or 10 laps, and that did not allow him to get away from the 7 or close in on the 1. He's made a lot of time up, Creed has, in the outside lane today.
Another car that's been really good here at the end of this run is at 17 of Corey Day. We talked about 7 straight top 10s running. Oh, watch out. See, Diamonds, the corner goes low. 17 car has been really good at the end of a long run, kind of matching Kyle Larson's lap times at the front.
He's been quiet tonight, but that's not a bad thing. Nice, clean day. As you said, 7 straight top 10s, on pace to do that again tonight as he carves his way through some of the slower traffic here as we approach 50 to go.
Leading the series in straight top 10s.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think Corey feels at home in environments like this. This is so similar to what he's right up against the wall, what he does, where he comes from in the sprint cars, where you're always moving around, having to fight lap traffic. Such a different environment. See, that car has so much roll speed through the middle. Just looks like it continues to get better as the run goes on.
Pretty interesting group of names on that list. All Hendrick Motorsports pilots.
Some good names. That's right. Some names you want to be associated with.
Look at Day. Put the bumper to Zilich for 7th.
But this is where it gets hard. You can get beside him, but it's completing that pass on the bottom. See, the 18's going to have the momentum. Got a lap car, Josh Williams, right in front of him.
Poor Josh. He's been getting put a lap down by a couple of these intense battles for position. A couple of different times tonight. He's been right in the mix of some of these guys racing hard.
Another little nudge.
Hey, I'm here. I'd like to be beside you here and to make the pass.
Williams like, I knew you were there the lap before.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Nation starting to run thin here as we approach the final clearance. He cleared him, not by much, parked it on his nose. But he's got the outside momentum, and Day will take 7th away.
Received a nice donut and then proceeded to take that position.
Just got to make it look like a Bristol car.
Yeah.
Good stuff here between these two young racers.
Oh, and when you're...
That was an intense battle for 7th between Corey Day and William Zilich. We'll take a quick rundown of the entire field running order here. Kyle Larson leads. He was only ahead by 9/10 of a second when we checked that with about 60 laps to go, but now back to a 1.9 second lead over Connor Zilich, excuse me. So he's expanded that lap traffic, getting through it much better now than what he was earlier in the run. Sheldon Creed in 3rd is about 3.4 seconds back out of the lead as well. Then Justin Allgaier's 4th, Brent Cruz 5th, Carson Kvapil in the 6th place position, Corey Day 7th, William Zilich 8th, Ryan Sieg 9th, and Sammy Smith in 10th. Sam Mayer 11th, Taylor Gray 12th, Jesse Love 13th, Brandon Jones 14th, Parker Retzlaff in 15th, 16th is Jeb Burton, Raja Cruz 17th, Brendan Poole 18th, Jeremy Clements 19th, and Harrison Burton in 20th. 21st, Austin Hill's the first car, 1 lap down. Josh Balicki in 22nd, Blaine Perkins 23rd, Dean Thompson 24th, and 25th is Patrick Staropoli. 26th is Kyle Sieg, J.J. Yaley 27th, Anthony Alfredo 28th, Greg Golding 29th, and Ryan Ellis 30th. Josh Williams 31st, Joey Gase 32nd, 33rd Blake Lothian, Logan Bearden 34th, LeVar Scott 35th, Austin Green 36th, 37th is Mason Maggio, and Garrett Smithley 38th. That rounds out our 38-car field for tonight's race. Lead down to about 1.6 seconds now, back and forth. Push-pull between Larson and Connor Zilich. 39 laps to go this time by. Larson still in the lead.
18.
But I don't think there's any doubt if he could clear Justin that he would drive away. That car quite a bit quicker. You see, he's just following in his tracks. Really needs to get like the lap traffic and get a pick. It would be the easiest pass. He just can't. He can get the siding, but he just can't clear it. But let's see. Down here through turbo. Oh, he committed to it. There you go. Well, Justin might let him go here. He's going to be in the preferred line here on the top, though. Since Justin doesn't slide him back. There you go. We're going to have the momentum on the exit. Great pass right there. Great job.
It's a multi-corner, multi-lap pass, but great learning experience for Brandon. I think he was super respectful as he gets against the wall there. First time he's not following the 7-car in a long time. The reference off of, but I thought he was super respectful to Justin in terms of getting to his rear bumper. Wasn't too aggressive at any point in time. Just waited for the opportunity and struck when it presented itself.
Cruz finally able to get by Allgaier for 4th. Larson on cruise control at the front of the field. This is the most laps Junior Motorsports has ever led in a single race, 221.
Wow.
Larson, Heather.
And he's on cruise control and flying on that radio, but I talked to his crew chief, Marty Lindley, early on in the day, and he said, as anybody would guess, he would be my first choice of anybody to be in the car, especially here at Bristol. But Marty did say he didn't think it was going to be this easy for Larson to dominate, but obviously he's proving us wrong. Another thing Kyle Larson wanted to do, he was on a mission to keep these O'Reilly competitors on their toes and performing at a high level. He wanted to give them their best to keep them all at their best as well. Kim? Remember, Kyle Larson is a Cup regular. Connor Zilich in P2, a Cup regular. That means Sheldon Creed in P3 is the best of the rest. The highest rating of Riley Auto Parts Series driver. No surprise there, he's finished running the last 2 Bristol, runner twice in the last 3 Bristol races. But the boot likened racing that we see here to dirt racing, or at least maybe a little bit of an advantage if you grew up dirt racing. And that's exactly what Sheldon told me. He said because you're making late decisions, everything happens so quickly.
Oh,
you always
we got a caution.
7th time tonight. Wheel and caution lights are on. Greg Galding in the 74 really has been having a pretty decent night.
He's had a great night for not being in a car for a while. As long as it's been, I think Gray's done a tremendous job tonight.
Yeah, 3 years or so since he's been behind the wheel of one of these O'Reilly Auto Parts Series cars. But caution comes out here with 31 laps to go. It's decision time. Can you come down pit
A lot
road?
of pressure, too, on the pit crews for those that come down.
Do you think tires matter? Really, we haven't seen it be playing a big part. We don't feel like there's been a ton of fallout tonight, but
We saw those guys in stage 1 that didn't flip, that were able to hold on to spots inside the top 5, front of the top, or back half of the top 10. So with less than 30 to go,
The good news is we don't have to make
that's
that
right.
decision.
We can just
We're going to sit
talk
here and
about it.
watch and figure out when it's afterwards what's the best call.
great observation.
Yeah, well, I know. It's because I felt like you and Dylan were going to paint me in a box of what would you do, and I didn't
We
want
would
to
never-
answer that.
We would never do such a thing.
Let's take a look at this. There's Greg Galding up at the top of that red car on the top side.
Oh,
and
got some contact
Jesse
there.
Love moves up the
Gosh,
racetrack.
it's crazy that Gray didn't hit anything getting turned halfway down the front stretch, going backwards at over 100 miles an hour. Oh, that's a terrible feeling to have.
He's running 29th.
Jesse Love was just inside the top 15.
That's one of those situations where even though you're going backwards and getting crashed, you never stop driving the car, right? Because
Praying the whole time.
exactly. a little bit of both.
You're hitting the gas brake and moving the wheel and hoping something clicks.
Right.
Kyle Larson, the leader, as he has been for most of the night. Let's listen into the 88 radio communications presented by Star Key. Scan the QR code now.
Think you good to fire back off here? About 25 to go when we go back right there. No.
Ooh. That means inside the car, the grip has gone away.
Yeah.
Kyle didn't seem very confident in that, but somebody will stay out here. If they pit,
Yeah.
there's no doubt we'll see a couple of guys stay out and take a chance. But that's a hard decision for Marty Lindley.
18 cars on the lead lap.
Kyle to kind of, agree with him. Like,
Yes.
yeah, it'll fire back off.
Yeah.
That's not the answer that you want to hear if you're sitting on the 88 pit box.
Jeremy Clements was the free pass, by the way.
I would rather have Kyle on offense than
I
defense.
was just going to say.
Marty agrees. Progressive pit road is open. Leaders on pit road.
I want to see Brent Cruz stay out.
And Sheldon Creed just saying, building freer into one. Jonathan Tony, the crew chief, saying, gonna put some feel goods on it, meaning new fresh rubber. And he just needs an air pressure adjustment, he said, for fire off. Heather? And Marty Lindley said to Kyle Larson, he said, I have a feeling they're all going to come, so they elected to come down and pit. He told his team he's just getting tighter on the rubber, so slight adjustment here for Kyle Larson. Also in is the 7 of Justin Allgaier, saying that when he turns the wheel, he shears the back, he's tight in the center, and he just sucks running the top. So the team going to work right now, 4 tires and Sunoco field for Justin Allgaier.
Race off pit road. For all these cars, 3 cars stayed out. Zilich, Corey Day, and Brent Cruz. Makes sense for Zilich. He's not running for driver points. Cruz has got a bunch of points to make up, so you may as well.
I think you have to
Yeah.
do something different than Larson, because if you follow him down pit road
Right.
and you don't beat him off of pit road, you're going to have a hard time outrunning him. But that's the guy that we picked to be the next first-time winner in the O'Reilly Series, Corey Day.
We did, and I just think, this, if you can get maybe quick cautions, it doesn't give those newer tires a big chance to get by you. We saw earlier in the race in stage 1, when guys stayed out, they were able to refire pretty well on old tires, so there hasn't been an immense amount of fall. If the track is cooling down, it's a cooler night, I think I like this call. Why not?
And Larson's going to line up fourth. You have to think the first 2 will take the outside. Does
Right.
Corey Day elect to take the bottom?
So that puts
And-
Larson on the bottom.
Yeah,
which is
and I don't think he wants to be on the bottom.
Nope.
He's going to want to be on the outside. It's going to give him more options of where he wants to
He'll
go.
probably be outside of row 3. That's
You
where he
think
was the
Larson is
last
having Some
time.
deja vu from Darlington, swept both stages and finished 4th there. That's where he's going to restart here after he swept both stages tonight.
Well,
Like 228 laps, still plenty of racing left for him to get back to the front, though.
and in Marty Lindley's position, you don't want to lose a race having not put Kyle Larson
Right.
in a position to go win it for you.
And
right?
Kyle helped him make that
Yes.
decision. When Kyle came on, it was like, you could hear the doubt in his mind, like, well, how many laps do we have? How many laps do we run? I'm with Marty. I think you have to pit right there, put him on the offense. He's still, if you're restarting 10th, totally different story, but being in 4th, he's going to be 2nd or 3rd row at the worst.
It's plenty of time, for sure. But if what Zilich and Cruz might be hoping for is maybe some quick cautions in a row, just take away those laps from Larson being able to get by him.
Larson going for his 2nd win this year in this 88 car, won at Vegas, and as we said, maybe the car to beat at Darlington just didn't pan out for them.
Well, in all fairness, probably shouldn't have won Vegas.
You're right.
Allgaier had
You're right.
the best car
It was
there.
the opposite.
And then he should have won Darlington,
Right.
and he didn't. They had a bad pit stop and got put back in the pack a little bit, and just didn't have the speed that he needed.
Connor Zilich going to restart as the race leader. Kim's downstairs with his crew chief.
Yeah, that'd be Ron Lee Trailers. You elected to keep your driver out on older tires. The majority of the field came down. What's the biggest concern here?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think that many was going to come, but the leaders had good restarts all day. Hopefully, we can get a good restart here. Keep control of the race. Never know how many restarts we're going to get before the end, but we got one of the best guys in our seat, and hopefully we can pull it off.
That guy's one of the best in the garage area for sure. Cup champion Rodney Childers. I think you got to trust him when whatever decision he makes. If you're Connor Zilich, and they'll have the track position they've been trying to get all night on this restart.
You can hear the worry, though. He's
Yeah.
like, I thought more guys were going to stay out, and that's exactly what we talked about. Knowing that the guys with tires are only 3 or 4 positions behind you, this restart's going to be key. How aggressive can Kyle be? Can he get 3 wide and get a couple of those?
It's going to get interesting.
Or 2. So I do think if he gets single filed out, it's going to make it tremendously harder.
One thing that I'm interested to watch, we've seen a couple of guys on newer tires than what the top 3 have got spin their tires on these restarts. So sometimes when you're on those older tires, it makes it more difficult to just
Shout out, by the way, Ryan Sieg restarting in 5th after being second out of the pits behind Kyle Larson. Great stop by the 39 bunch, and we'll see what is about to transpire here. This should be interesting on a late race restart situation. We're going to have just 22 laps to go between Zilich and Corey Day.
Yeah, they go for it.
We talked about Larson going 3 wide on that last restart. I watched him go through the middle. Like, he didn't try to go to the very top. And Brent Cruz got to make that decision. You know, or am I going to defend that? Is going to go all the way to the top to block Larson. You run through the middle. Is Corey Day going to get a good restart? They're going to be side by side.
And Sieg will actually be inside of row 2. Larson took outside of row 3, just as he did the last time there was a restart, in which he restarted outside of row 3 when the top 3 stayed out. It did take him about a dozen laps to get to the lead. Good news is he's got 22 laps to get there. Green flag back in the air. And on the restart, Connor Zilich gets a great launch, holds on to the lead. Brent Cruz is actually going to take away the second place position, and Larson up to 3rd, passing his Hendrick teammate, Corey Day. Justin Allgaier slipping to the outside of the 88 car after Larson tried to go to the bottom of the track through 3 and 4, and Allgaier may take away 3rd from Larson. This will be a battle between 2 drivers on fresher tires versus the leaders. And Brent Cruz putting pressure on Connor Zilich. To the outside goes Cruz, but he oversteps it and he's up against the wall in turns 1 and 2. That backs up Allgaier, who is still battling to the outside of Larson as well. Cruz still in 2nd place. Holding on strong on those older tires. Kyle Larson leading the way down on the bottom after getting by the 7. And now the battle for 2nd continues, and what Connor Zilich wants to see is this battle for 2nd continue on for an extremely long period of time. 18 laps to go. Cruz is still clear of the 88. All the way up the racetrack is the 19, making life hard for Larson, who has only ran the bottom of the racetrack since the restart and getting clear for 3rd. Caution flag is out again a little bit further back in the pack. Coming up to 17 laps to go. So Connor Zilich survives the first restart late. Going to have to deal with another one. Brent Cruz still remains in 2nd. And Larson only up 1 spot to 3rd. Some damage in the left rear of Anthony Alfredo's number 96 car for Viking Motorsports. And actually crunched the entire left side, it looks like. Left front, left rear. Gonna have to see a replay of exactly what happened. So caution flag is out. Laps are gonna wind away quickly. Oh, wow. Fredo turned middle of the front stretch. I have to get another look at that. He was definitely hooked off the front bumper of another driver. But I'm not exactly sure if he had moved down, moved up. Then there was a lot of contact between Sam Mayer and Brandon Jones off the front bumper of Sammy Smith. 3 wide out of turn 4. Jones left rear into the right front of Smith, and then down into the bottom car of Sam Mayer. Things getting tight. That's just what I call short track racing and a late race restart at Bristol. Sharik, I greatly appreciate that. I don't want to say I don't believe it until I see it, but that would be insanely generous. Race is not over yet, though. I think the best thing for Larson is another restart. Especially if Brent Cruz ends up taking the bottom of row 1. He got to 2nd place quickly, following well in line behind Connor Zilich on that outside lane. And maybe Larson takes the inside of row 1. He's not going to be outside of row 3 again, I can tell you that much. Larson will not be outside of row 3. He's either going to be outside of row 2 or he's going to be inside of row 1. So he's already going to be up closer to the leaders than what he was in the last restart. Now, the thing that hurts him is that first lap or two of the fire off on the restart has been the biggest advantage with those on fresh tires between the truck race last night and then the O'Reilly race today. Those tires pretty much even out after about 2 or 3 green flag laps. I really don't think he's got an advantage on tires here as much as it is now he's just in a better position on the restart. And they're going back to the last scoring loop between Cruz and Larson. It was so close for second, but Cruz had the nose out in front of the 88. So they were battling door to door there for a while before the yellow flag. Best thing for Zilich too right now, though, on the counter side of Larson is that laps are ticking away under caution. So by the time we actually do get back racing, Kyle Larson in that 88 car is not going to have as much time to try to make these passes. They're already down to 12 laps to go this time by. Always talk about the laps winding down quickly at Bristol, not just under green, but under caution as well. Soon as these safety trucks get off the racetrack, we will get back racing again. The caution initially waved as the leaders were coming off of turn 4 to 17 to go, so we've only had 4 laps of yellow. Definitely not going to be seeing any of those front runners pit now. Of the 3 drivers who had stayed out of the pits, Zilich and Cruz first and second still, and Corey Day, who restarted third, is now back to 6th. And Day will be outside of row 4 on the restart. Kyle Larson will be inside of row 1. Zilich is the control car on the outside of row 1, and Cruz did take the outside of row number 2. So we're going to have 11 laps to go in the restart at Bristol. That is quite literally a dash. And we will see if this will be the final restart of the day. It's going to be close. Going back to that chat poll on who would win tonight's race, Kyle Larson or the field, 61% of those votes took Kyle Larson for the win. 39% had somebody other than him winning. Well, we're about to find out. 11 laps to the finish. Larson is dominated. He's led over 200 laps. Green flag back in the air. Brent Cruz spins the tires on the restart on the outside of row 1. That's going to be good for Larson. Even if he can't get around the 1 car here, he might have a better shot to get the 2nd. Tried to slam the door shut on Brent Cruz, but couldn't do it. Zilich rolls the bottom of the racetrack. The 88 stumbles as he gets tight in the wake of the dirty air, and Brent Cruz is going for the race lead now. On the outside of Connor Zilich, can he hold on as we're side by side for the lead at Bristol with 9 laps to go this time by? Larson now transfers to the outside lane of the racetrack. Huge head of steam for Kyle Larson. He'll stay to the outside, and surprisingly, Connor Zilich did not try to take his line away. He went right back to the bottom as Brent Cruz did not get going well through 1 and 2, and Zilich almost completed that pass. Cruz had contact with the wall on the last short green flag run. I wonder if his car might not be handling as well as it was earlier before these yellows transpired. Right now, it's Brent Cruz leading. Larson's just kind of boxed in behind the 19 and the 1 because they keep getting side by side with one another, and he's got nowhere to go. 7 laps left. Brent Cruz looking for career win number 1. Connor Zilich. Oh, Cruz up into the wall out of turn 2. Slipped and slid the wrong way again. Larson with a slide job to squeeze the 19, forcing Cruz to have to lift to keep it off the wall a 3rd time, and Larson's going after Connor Zilich for the lead. Can Zilich, the phenom, 19-year-old rookie in the NASCAR Cup Series, hold off the 2-time Cup Series champion? 5 laps to go. Zilich won double-digit races in the car that Larson is driving here tonight just a season ago. Teammates for this evening alone. Zilich now on the outside. Larson realizes that Zilich is going to be taking his line away, and he might have to pass him down around the bottom, which is going to make the pass even that much more difficult. Luckily, Larson was close enough to get a slide job on Cruz after Cruz hit the wall. It might take that kind of a mistake to get by the 1 of Connor Zilich. If Larson can't get a good run up off the exit of the corner on the high side, it might be game over. 2 laps to go this time by. The gap is about 2.5 car lengths between the 1 and the 88. Oh, and now Larson slides up against the wall, coming out of 4. Loses a ton of time. And all of a sudden, he's about a second off the lead with a lap and a half to go. Cruz holding on tightly for third on Justin Allgaier in a battle, which is much closer than the battle for the win now. A mistake by Larson, overdriving and trying to do whatever he could to get back to the 1. And a second race for Larson in the O'Reilly Series this season will get stripped away because of a late race caution. And this one is going to be won by another Cup regular, Connor Zilich, who gets his first win in a NASCAR Premier Series event in 2026. Zilich with the race win, Kyle Larson second, Brent Cruz third, Justin Allgaier fourth, and Carson Kvapil rounds out the top 5 and 5th. Staying out wins the race on those old tires for Connor Zilich. And Larson, who pitted from the lead after leading over 200 laps, not going to get the win. Here today. Shurik B, thank you for the $15 donation. Here's 15 for now. 500 isn't working for me. I'll try tomorrow. I greatly appreciate the $15. Sticking to your word. If Larson didn't win tonight, that you were gonna pay up. I greatly appreciate that. Very generous. Connor Zilich victorious here tonight at Bristol. He did not win at Bristol last year of those 10 wins he had in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. So this is his first career win at this track. Holding off NASCAR's best, Kyle Larson. Well, you know what? He might have had the clean air, but he couldn't make a mistake late. Larson made a mistake. Cruz made a mistake trying to run Zilich down. Zilich did not slip a wheel, and he ends up with the win. Both the 19 and the 88, who finished second and third, got against the wall trying to make the pass on Zilich. And even when Cruz was up on the outside of the racetrack and had the lead for a brief moment, Connor Zilich perfect on the bottom to make that pass and get the race win. Zilich with the race win. Kyle Larson in second. We'll go through the rest of the finishing order shortly once we get this interview on the front stretch with Zilich first. We did finish under the regulation length today, 300 laps around the half-mile short track. 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 10 seconds is all it took to get through today's race. 8 cautions, 13 lead changes, 59 laps under yellow of the 300. One less caution tonight than we had in the truck race yesterday, and we had 50 more laps. We had the mix of short green flag runs, long runs, all in all, a pretty solid race. Here's your race winner, Connor Zilich.
Field comes down for fresh tires. You're on old tires. You had Larson, the best car of the night, breathing down your neck. You had Brent Cruz doing crazy moves. How did you hold them off to win this race?
Yeah, man, that was awesome. It's been a tough past few weeks for me in the Cup Series, and feels good to come back down here and into the O'Reilly Series and remember that I can still do it. It's tough. You finish in the back every week and you forget who you are, but this feels good. So we played strategy. Rodney made a great call to keep us out. The tires weren't wearing much all night, and we were able to get our Roto-Rooter Chevrolet in the track position that it needed to go out and win the race. So really cool to be able to race against Kyle and learn from him. He's so talented and such a fast race car driver, and man, it's good to be back with JRM and back in victory lane.
You talked about what this means to you and your confidence on the Cup side of things, but this also is a first for Rodney. You got him his first win. What does it mean to be able to hit a milestone for him like that?
I mean, Rodney's won a lot of races in his career, but it's cool to get one with him and to get him his first win in the O'Reilly Series with JRM. He works really hard and he's super smart, so it means a lot to be able to work with him. And hell yeah, Bristol!
Congratulations. Connor Zilich, a winner at the last Great Coliseum.
You know,
Big time win for Connor Zilich, 7/10 of a second margin of victory over Kyle Larson. Looking at other race statistics here, 24 laps led for the race winner Zilich, 230 for Larson out of 300. Won the first two stages, led the most laps, over half the laps in the race. Both Darlington and Bristol, late race cautions and pit stops did him in. Lost the lead because of it, didn't get it back under green on his own. Not enough laps to do it, and just too many mistakes down the stretch in the process of trying to do it. So outside of the top two, Zilich first, Larson second, Brent Cruz finishes third, Justin Allgaier fourth, Carson Quapple fifth, and Sheldon Creed in sixth, William Sawalich seventh, Corey Day eighth, Parker Retzlaff ninth, and Taylor Gray rounds out the top 10. Ryan Segan 11, Jesse Love 12, Sammy Smith 13th, Raja Krug 14th, and 15th was Jeremy Clements. Jeb Burton 16th, Harrison Burton 17th, Brendan Poole 18th, 19th for Brandon Jones, and Sam Mayer 20th. Austin Hill last car in the lead lap in 21st, and Blaine Perkins 22nd, Josh Balicki 23rd, Dean Thompson 24th, and Kyle Sieg 25th. J.J. Ailey 26th, Patrick Starpoli 27th, Greg Golding 28th, Josh Williams 29th, and Ryan Ellis in 30th. Joey Gase 31st, LeVar Scott 32nd, Logan Bearden 33rd, Blake Lothian 34th, Austin Green 35th, Anthony Alfredo 36th. Two cars DNF tonight, Mason Maggio, Garrett Smithley 37th and 38th. That rounds out the full field finishing order. And thank you all for tuning in throughout today's live commentary. Not just stream, but streams. We did practice the qualifying for the Cup Series earlier. We have the O'Reilly race under the lights here on the Saturday night at Bristol this evening. And we still got one more stream to go this weekend. We'll be live for the NASCAR Cup Series tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, beginning with our pre-race coverage of the Food City 500. Hope to see you for that one. Congrats again to Connor Zilich. Congrats to Ryan Blaney for qualifying on the pole earlier today, hence the Blaney get up here tonight. And then also congrats to Christopher Bell last night in the truck race. Thank you to all of you who tuned in throughout all the action so far. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a good, safe Saturday night, everybody, and catch you next time.